All right, episode. What'd you say, Shelly? You're already interrupting. We just started. Episode. You guys can't see Sheldon off the camera and or everybody behind the scenes, but Evan's here, Lele's here, Sheldon's here, and we got a guest we're going to be introducing here in a second. Artistic Freedom, episode 57. It seems like a big number. And I actually had Dalen, our apprentice, today in the shop ask, does it feel like you've done a lot? And I'm like, no, I feel like I've done about 12, but it feels like it's been years since I started. So all of you guys that watch and enjoy, maybe I'll explain why I have gum on my clipboard later. But all of you guys that are watching, thanks for being on here. All the regulars, all the longtime listeners, no-time callers, thanks for being in the comment section. You know what to do. There's going to be plenty of questions for today. Once we get to our guest, I'm sure you guys are going to learn and hear a lot of new stuff, and you're going to have questions. If you know who the guest is, I'm sure you're already prepared for a bunch of questions. So to get started, I want to thank you guys first and remind you to ask questions in the comment section. If we don't get to them, don't take it too personally. For your guys' information, I do not have my sound effect board today. So Lele will be in charge. Let's see if she's knows what she's doing. Let's get a there we go. And get do you know what? Let's see if you can find the hell yeah, Lele. It's on the it's on the stream deck. She's gonna love this. Okay, so you guys, we're gonna get started, and I'm really excited actually to introduce my guest. My guest, first, what I want to say is he's a really funny guy, and I don't mean any disrespect, because Artistic Freedom, episode 57, Clovis, California, Joshua Farmer, what's up? YouTubers, yo. Facebookers, yo. I appreciate you guys. I like to take this serious and sometimes have fun. That's why I wanted Woody on here. So my guest is Woody, and Woody's a super funny guy. He does Instagram, he does TikTok, he's a comedian. I get that. Woody, thanks for being on here.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to be here.
Dude, I appreciate you.
Yeah, and I can be serious. If you need serious from me, I'm here for Artistic Freedom, all right? Whatever you need, I'm here for you.
I appreciate that. Dude, that means a lot to me.
Absolutely.
Because I take my show, you know, like it means a lot to me. And I take my show really serious. You know, it's sometimes it's comedy, sometimes it's fun. I get it. And dude, I've watched your Instagram, I've watched your TikToks. I get it, bro.
Hey,
like
thank you.
It's funny, but time to time, I like to just be a little bit more serious. And since you're agreeing to do this show, and it's my show, I mean, obviously it's my show. It's Artistic Freedom. You're Woody, I'm Josh. I own the place. My point is, as long as we're willing to take it serious and kick back and just have a good time, and seriously?
What?
Really? Okay, I can't. I tried.
You told me I got to be me, okay? I don't know what you were expecting. Whatever. Freedom my ass.
No, go back to the intro. There we go. Okay, so obviously we were just kidding. I hope you guys didn't leave. That was not the end of the show. That was just the beginning, episode 76. Somebody's actually saying hashtag 76. I don't know if I said it wrong, but I was trying super hard not to laugh. Woody, thank you so much for that intro.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to do it. I think you said like 57.
Did I?
Yeah.
Dude, I was so excited. I was so
awesome.
excited about doing this. I'm like thinking, oh my God, I actually have to act live right now.
Yeah, I lost a plug in that whole thing, so it's like
that's awesome. We got it.
Damn,
we got this handled. What, Shelly? It's 70. What did I said 57? Guys, I'm having so much fun. This is ridiculous. I don't even know where we're at. What's the date? Who's the president? What's my name? Okay, we don't know. I hope you guys enjoyed that intro. We rehearsed it for like 2 minutes, and
it
was
made
on
it
the
happen.
fly. And it was awesome. So, Woody, really, actually, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And you
Stoked to be
you
here.
can totally be yourself.
Cool.
We'll have a good time.
Okay, I'll put the wig back on.
I mean, dude, you could totally wear it the whole time.
I couldn't. Those things are so itchy and hot. whenever I'm filming and I got that on, it's like the worst 20 minutes of my life, just trying to like get through it, not scratch my face. Like, yeah, it's no good.
I totally get it.
Yeah.
I totally get it. It's almost like a beard, but for your head.
Yeah. Yeah, but like someone else's beard for your head.
Somebody else's beard for your head. That's right.
Not a good time.
No, I totally get it. So you guys, really officially, thanks for being here. This is where the show actually starts, and I mean it this time. I hope I did good enough to fool you guys. I don't know if I did. You could let me know. But I was trying to, I was pulling a Woody on you.
Yeah.
So,
Ooh.
yeah. Dude,
I was fooled.
I kept telling people, like, I got Woody on.
I
I'm having Woody.
Yeah, I'm going to have Woody on the show.
So what are you doing tonight? I'm going to have Woody. I'm going to have Woody on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I did spell your name incorrectly a few times. So
That's
I
all right.
apologize.
Everyone does. I forgive it at this point.
But now I got it down.
2 Ds.
I got it.
Double O, double D.
2 Ds.
That's right.
I got the 2 Ds. All right. So we did ask questions earlier, which we will get to. We both posted on Instagram that I think my face is still bright red from laughing. So
Yeah. Yeah, that was like the best workout I've had. It's like diving into that thing. So
that was good.
yeah, I'm getting my wind back.
So we obviously have a Q&A section at the end of this. If you guys have questions in the comments, I would save them for then. But if we see some we can address, Woody, you're more than welcome to address them. And you guys, I appreciate you. And we're going to get into a little discussion first and just talk. I have no idea who Woody really is.
Yeah.
Who's the man behind the wig?
Yeah.
Who's this blonde bombshell?
That's my new tagline. The man behind the blonde bombshell.
That's great. Bubba, don't be afraid to quickly if you have to, and it's okay if it's fast. So yeah, I want to get straight to it. So I know we asked the question in the Instagram and you posted it too. I got a bunch of questions we can get to later, which I'm excited to do and talk about who the artist is. So
Awesome.
We'll find out who Woody is. You guys have more questions after that, and then we'll try our best to engage with the audience and go from there. So first we'll get into who is Woody?
Yeah. Just generally, who am I?
Yeah, who are you?
Okay, well, my name's Woody. It's my last name, but it's a name I've gone by. It's every man in the family goes by Woody. I remember when I was 6th grade or so, I turned to my dad and I was like, "Hey, Dad, like, how old do I have to be to start going by Woody?" And he gave me one of those like deep, insightful, like, "Oh, you'll know. Like, you'll know when it's the right time." So going into 7th grade, I was like, "It's time."
Okay.
So yeah, I've been Woody now for longer than I was ever Adam. So yeah.
So nobody calls you Adam?
No.
Unless you're in trouble.
Yeah. So my best friend that I've had since 6th grade, who met me as Adam, because the moment hadn't happened yet, he still calls me Adam, and my dad. That's about it.
Okay.
Yeah. So
And
2 people.
Also, your wife is watching tonight,
Yeah. Hey, wife.
right?
Yeah.
Super cool. She tagged us
Mrs.
in it, so I knew.
Yeah. Yeah. She's watching from home. She would normally be asleep by now, but she's like
Super
hopping
cool.
into this. Yeah.
Super cool.
Yeah.
All right. So leading it up to this, I was super excited because I think you're the first person who actually makes regularly content, right?
Yeah.
So obviously you are on Instagram. I get it. You're funny.
Thank you.
I've been saying that.
Glad
for like
you get it.
I've been saying that for like 3 days because I'm trying to like rehearse
Yeah.
my intro.
Love
I'm
that.
Like, get it, Woody. Cool.
You're funny. All right.
So cool. What? Oh, so anyway, you've been doing a lot of content, and I don't really have a lot of people. A lot of times I get people on here, and it's the first time they've really been doing something like this. So
Right.
this is natural for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been doing stuff kind of like this since 1st grade. I was entered in like the local like speech competition.
Okay.
And not to brag, but 1st and 2nd grade, I won the state championship for that. So I've been like acting in some form or another since then. But yeah, being behind a camera has felt natural now for a couple years. I've been making content for about 2 years now. And yeah, this is kind of my element. Just like the tattoo shop feels like my element, this does too. So
Okay.
yeah,
So
I feel good.
when it comes to making content, if you're anything like me, it's like people say, "Oh, you're natural," and they don't see all that went into
Right.
it, the rehearsal. Like, I know it sounds like nothing, but there's a lot for me. There's a lot of pressure to speak into a camera. This is more natural for me than to sit here with nobody else in this room, looking at the cameras and trying to share a message or relay some sort of thought. And it doesn't feel natural at all. But when people say, "God, you're so good at it, though. You're so natural."
Right.
I almost take offense because I'm like, you have no idea how many times I
Yeah.
wanted to break my camera. But I'm glad that I get through it because then it leads me to being able to do something like this. And this is a lot of fun for me. And I always think I get more out of it than the viewers or even the guests because I feel really appreciative of these experiences. But what has that been like for you? Like the getting over the hump of awkwardness or some of the even the comments or feedback? Like, what's that been like for you?
I think a really good time was actually the first time that outfit that I just wore. The first time wearing it, I was like, okay, I am crossing a line here, and that line is just simply like doing it for the cringe, right?
Okay.
Just making content that is going to be just a little out there and wacky. It was like, kind of selling my soul a little bit, and it took me like 3 days to post it. I made the video, edited it, did the subtitles, everything, and then sat on it and like had to ask myself, is this it? Is this what I want to do?
Wow.
Is this what I want to put out there? And then finally, can I cuss on this?
Fuck, dude.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay,
if you
great.
want to,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess.
Yeah. Finally, I was like, fuck it. Like, I made this. I wanted to do it. This is just one more way for me to express myself, another piece of art to make. So, yeah, I made that. But I do remember the 3 days of, like, agonizing over, like, oh, should I do this? Like, I'm in my 30s. Like, do I want to, post this?
Yeah,
But
I get it.
yeah, I don't know. I just kind of lately have been embracing much more that, like, live the life you want to live, make whatever you want to. So, yeah, I think that kind of sums up the, getting over the hump of what this content creating is.
That's really cool. That's
Yeah.
really cool. That's like, obviously as artists, and you're a tattooer, and we'll get into that a little bit too. But, for me, having this show, like, it felt so right to call it artistic freedom, because of exactly what you're saying is, I don't think a lot of people who aren't artistic, I don't think understand, and why would they? Maybe in their own way, but for us as artists, we have that sort of hump you have to get over of, am I really going to do this? Am I really going to put this out there? There's like this desire, this message, or this character, this thing you want to make or create or get out. And I think every artist gets to a point where, I probably get a show of hands for the artists that are in the room. Sheldon, you count. For the people who've been like, am I really going to actually, like, you have to sit on it, like, metaphorically and literally, like, that's not how I meant it. But
Right.
you have to sit on the fact that, like, am I really going to put this? So show of hands in the room. Yeah, I think pretty much Dalen's got a camera in his hand, so he doesn't have to do that. But yeah, so Lele back there too. I think it's normal to go through that. My question, I guess, for you would be, what was the thing that, like, what was the determining or deciding factor of just getting over it? Like, what was that thought process for you?
I think I just really want to make myself proud at the end of the day, and I want to keep creating stuff. And one thing to go along with what you were saying, there's now a lot of pressure for artists, because if you do create something and release it, where 20 years ago you were releasing it to, like, your friends, if you send them a photo of it, and now it can be just so many more people and millions at this point that can see what you're creating. So yeah, I think I've just, like, kind of bought into myself more, and just kind of been more confident in what I'm creating or what I'm doing. And, like, hey, realizing I have a voice in this space, and it may be a super weird voice, and I want to embrace that, because, like, yeah, we need more weird stuff out there. And if I'm going to be one of the people to create it, great. If I inspire one other person out there to create their next weird thing, like, awesome. Let's all have fun. Like,
That's awesome.
yeah.
I think that's the way it's supposed to be. That's the organic sort of nature of art and what it means to people, whether they're watching and consuming, or they're on the other side of that, or if they're actually somebody like me or a lot of us that watch this, and a lot of people that I'm involved with, especially apprentices in the shops and tattooing and our whole industry that we're in. There's a lot of people who are, I think, kind of living in a world where we're like, it's just full of so much information, noise, and distractions. And some of it's in the form of entertainment. Some of there's all kinds of forms of entertainment and distractions, even, you can call it that. But to be able to be willing, like, I ask myself, does YouTube really need another person talking on a podcast? And I go through these thoughts, and then I realize, where's that coming from? Like, why do I care? I want to do it. I'm going to do it. And that's the deciding factor, is I have a desire inside me to get it out. And I think that's the nature of art.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, creating for you, I think, is such a powerful thing, because, like, once that does kind of change, and you'll see it happen to a lot of creators, they start creating for the algorithm or for their audience, like, that can be where things change. And I feel like I've been happiest when I've been creating the art for myself.
Okay.
Doesn't totally tie in much to tattooing, because in tattooing, you're very much creating for your client, and, it is an art form that is definitely for others. So when I started creating videos, it was like that creative outlet that I needed again, because art was always my thing. It was always the thing I did after my truck driving job or after my forklift job. And I got really fulfilled from that. And now that art is my full-time job, it was hard to like sit down and draw when I could be drawing for a client.
I see.
It was hard to sit down and paint when I could be drawing for a client. So
It becomes your job.
yeah, so when creating videos happened, and it still does, it definitely did more in the beginning, but it was like, oh great, like this is my new way to create, and I get to learn the form and learn the technology behind it. And yeah, it definitely gave me that fulfillment that I wasn't getting anymore from tattooing, you know, as my creative outlet.
I think when it becomes a profession, right, you get into a space where people are paying you now, and you're making something for them. It's no longer for you, and so you lose that outlet, like you're saying,
Right.
and then you find something new. And it seems to me like that's a pretty common path as well. It's almost like tattooing or art was your outlet previous to something else, and you kind of hopscotch it or whatever. Like, what's that game where you jump over each other? It's like a bunny rabbit game or whatever.
Yeah, leapfrog.
Leapfrog.
Yeah.
There you go, bunny rabbit.
Yeah.
That's the best
Same
I got.
thing.
It's a bunny rabbit thing. So it's kind of like leapfrogging yourself and just going to the next thing. If you're an artist, you're just gonna have a desire to make and create something that's yours. And so leading us to this moment where you're making all this content, let's kind of backtrack from that and dissect it. Like, who is Woody?
Who is Woody?
Who's the Woodster?
Yeah.
What's the nickname? Is that your nickname? Just
Woody,
Woody. I mean,
yeah.
you don't really need one.
Yeah, everyone says Woodrow after a while. but
Nice.
They make it longer, so
I like that.
yeah.
I think Woodster might stick for me.
Woodster, cool. I'll take
Woodster's
it.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
totally allowed.
it's better than like pine,
Yeah, I would say so.
bark.
Mighty oak.
The mighty oak.
Yeah.
Oakster. Okay, so just so alpine.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm
cool.
sorry. I'm trying to be funny. It's not working as good. It's a good thing I do a podcast because I don't think I would last on the
Yeah,
TikTok.
leave it to me. We got this.
You got this, and I'll
Cool.
do this side. So let's go all the way back to as far as you could. Dream music. Let's go back
was
as
it.
far as you.
Cool.
That was a really good sound effect.
Ooh,
See,
I liked yours better, but that'll work.
it'll do.
Yeah.
So let's go all the way back to when you first started doing art, and what was that like for you in your life? Like something you grew up doing, it's something you found later. What was that like?
Yeah, so most of my earliest memories involve doing art. One of which being back when I lived in Sacramento, which was one of the I was like 4 when we lived there. I can remember sneaking into my dad's office to steal white printer paper and a pen, which I could have just asked for, but it was like more fun to steal it.
Great.
Yeah, so I stole it and like went and secretly drew in my bedroom, and yeah, I loved it. I loved the reaction of showing people like, hey, I created this. Even in kindergarten, they given you blocks like that could entertain me for 2 days if you just let me loose with whatever colored pencils or whatnot. So yeah, those were the early days of it. I always got the most like gratification as a kid out of doing kind of any form of art. So yeah, all the way back then, I like to think that not only did I like art, but since I was stealing the supplies, I liked the mischievousness of
Right.
it. So did graffiti later in life, and yeah,
This is all making sense.
yeah, this is like the arch.
Is there any
art.
jail time in that art?
None,
Oh wow,
no.
you got it.
Never even been in the back of a cop car.
Wow, you're missing out.
I know. Yeah.
Sheldon.
Yeah. Tell me all about it. What am I missing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say you probably have some friends you can give a call.
Yeah.
We can arrange this tonight. We do know some people that know some people. Well, that's good that obviously hasn't happened. But there is a sort of rogue underground. Well, there's a clear rogue underground nature to tattooing.
Right.
Sometimes even to video creation and some of the things we're doing now too. I mean, in the past it was definitely very rogue. Whether it was videotaping something back in the day, you were some sort of almost jackass type show.
Yeah.
If you weren't on TV, you were just doing something to get sponsored. If you're a skater or
Yep.
if you're a musician, you're making that. So there's this sort of underground nature to it. And that is what appeals to you, is kind of what you're saying. So what did that look like leading up to becoming a tattoo artist? Was that like me? Did you get a 9 to 5? You just found yourself so underwhelmed and in some
Yeah.
ways and overwhelmed in others and just wasn't satisfying. So you just naturally had to find this thing. What does that look like for you?
Yeah, so I was also involved in like the underground music scene as well. Gonna give a quick cough here. So I did that. I was in bands. Wasn't great. I wasn't even good, but I was in them. And then realized that I had a lot more fun being the merch guy, designing the merch, selling it for them. Like I was very into that. So as soon as I turned 18, I was a forklift operator. It was a great job at the time. I made way too much money and like had no bills. So I was getting tattooed here in town every other weekend, basically. You know, when a tattoo was healed, I was doing the next session. And yeah, after about a year of that, I turned to the artist and I was like, hey, how do I get in? Like, what do I have to do? What are these dues I have to pay? And his actual advice to me was buy a tattoo machine on eBay and start tattooing your friends at home. Like my professional tattooer was like, do that. Like that's what you got to do. So I was like, yeah, great. Like I'll do that right now. So bought my machines and immediately, yeah, just started messing people up at home.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so, yeah, my dad is like by far my biggest supporter. And his one thing was like, don't quit your day job.
Right.
Like you have medical insurance.
Keep stable.
Yeah.
Be safe.
Right. Like this tattooing thing's not going to turn into anything. And I was like, all right, you're right. So I kept the 9 to 5, which is really like 60 hours a week and killing me inside and was miserable. Kept that, was tattooing all my friends on the weekends because that band that I was a merch guy for, as soon as I was like, hey, I have tattoo machines, they're like, oh, you're the art friend. Like, yeah,
let's go.
Yeah, you're the guy. You're already qualified. So everybody started letting me tattoo them immediately. And yeah, so that was...
That's interesting because my advice when I walked into a shop, I was 16 years old with a backpack full of art and a skateboard and a bus ticket. And I've said this story tons of times, but the short bullet point is I went into shops before I was even allowed to be in shops and was like, how do I get a tattoo? How do I do this? Because there's no Google, there was no YouTube. It's a little before, I think 10 years earlier than you.
Yeah.
Maybe. So I would just go and ask everybody and I just got the same expected answer, cold shoulder. Finally walked into the shop that I was willing to get tattooed at and told them, you know, what I want to do. And then they finally said, move to California or go to jail. Oh. And that was their answer to learning how to tattoo. The shop's still there too. They're very successful. It's in the Portland, Oregon area. Okay. But I moved to California and thought, well, if it doesn't work, then I'll probably end up in jail.
Yeah.
So no matter what, I'll be learning.
Yeah. Great.
And it does seem like it's either you're at home, kind of learning on your own, which sometimes, unfortunately, is almost the only way because there's so many people want to get into it. There's not enough resources, much less people willing to teach or people that you could trust to teach.
Right.
And then, so there's a lot of people doing it. Plus the barriers are much lower considering that things are available online that just simply wouldn't be available in the past.
Right.
Or you're going to jail. That's like the way, or a friend that knows a friend. And that's about it. Otherwise, you're not going to learn from one of the masters in the past. They're not going to be available for you. So it's interesting to hear your story that way because I think for people like you and whether it's your videos or your art, whatever your artistic outlet is, you were never going to keep you from it. It was always going to be something you would find. Right. It was just a matter of time until you were finally in that place where something blossomed. Yeah. So did it seem like that's kind of how it worked for you?
Yeah, for a bit. So I was tattooing people, and my marketing tactic was because I had that job that was paying me too much money. My dad told me, he was like, "Look, you're blowing all your cash every single weekend. You need to buy a house. Like, have something to to fall back on." And I was 19 at the time, and I was like, yeah, that's an idea. And then he pitched it as like, hey, you'll always have a place to party if you own the house.
Oh, shit.
It was the smartest advice. I was like, sold. So that weekend, I came down to Fresno. I was up in Stockton at the time when all this was happening, but coming down to Fresno every weekend. Came down, talked to my buddy's dad, who was a realtor. I was like, hey, I want to buy a house. So, like, find me a house. That Sunday, so 2 days later, he was like, hey, I got you a house. Like, come check it out. He took me over there at night, which, like, pro tip for everyone, if your realtor takes you to the house at night, don't buy the house. Like, we're hiding things, right?
Don't look at the backyard.
Yeah, he wasn't even turning lights on for me. He was like, hey, your phone got a flashlight? I was like,
that's, no bueno.
19 and dumb. I was like, great, like, shining it. I was like, oh, there's a closet. There's a bathroom in the closet. Like, that's so cool. He's like, glad you think so.
Right.
Ready to sign paperwork?
Yours. Yeah. Here you go.
Yeah, and I got the house. So as soon as I got the keys, my dad was like, hey, we got to talk about your partying.
No way.
Yeah. He was like, you got to.
He got you.
He did. And I was like, damn it. Like, You're the smartest guy I know. Like, yeah.
I was gonna say you're a lucky man.
Yeah, far and away. My dad's awesome. All of his advice along the way was always great. So I had the house. So what my sales pitch was, or what my sales tactic was, I would throw parties on Saturday night. I would bring a client in Saturday evening so that when I was wrapping up at the tattoo, the party was starting. So there was always someone walking around with like a fresh tattoo, and they'd be like, yeah, Woody just did that thing. Like, check it out. And
That's the deal.
yeah. And they were like, oh, can I get in? I'd be like, yeah, I got time in like a month. And yeah.
Right.
So people were like, okay, Woody tattoos. He does it from home, no big deal, whatever. So fast forward a bunch of time. I ended up moving down to Fresno, became a truck driver. So I was working 9 p.m. to 11 a.m., 14-hour days, 5 days a week, miserable. And did that for a couple years, hated it.
Right.
I'm like too social for a night job, too social for me in a truck job. So just the worst version of me was inside a truck. So had to find a way out. Was stacking all the money that I made. Had an opportunity to buy a business. Bought the business. A year later, opened a second one next door to a tattoo shop. So I was painting giant murals on my walls. The owner of the tattoo shop came in one day and was like, hey, do you want to work next door? Like, do you want to do this? And I was like, nah, I used to tattoo. Like, I'm doing this this business thing. Yeah, and then one day I was talking to my brother and I was like, hey, the tattoo shop owner next door keeps offering me an apprenticeship. And he was like, take it. And I was like, no, at the time I had 3, there were vape shops. So I had 3 vape shops at the time. I was like, I don't have time for that. And he was like, do you really think vape is going to be around in like 5 years? Like, dude, no, tattooing, yeah, it's kind of around.
I was gonna say maybe Lele's back there cringing. She's like, what?
Yeah.
It better be.
What do you mean it's going away?
I want to stop
Yeah.
so bad.
In 4 years.
Help
Yeah.
me.
When it's
You'll
gone.
be fine.
Help.
I read a book and quit, which is like not a normal way to
Whoa.
quit. Yeah.
Like a book about quitting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like how to stop vaping now.
Yeah. It was like, how to stop vaping, you
Urgently,
idiot. Yeah.
please.
Yeah.
For dummies.
Yeah. And it worked.
Right.
I like finished the last page and it was like, and now you're cured. And I was like, fuck.
And now your
yeah.
businesses are closed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah. I was like,
I'm cured
sick.
of all my income.
Yeah.
But so you went to the shop and you did an apprenticeship.
Yeah, so it was like the next day after talking with my brother, the owner came in and he was like, hey, have you thought any more about that apprenticeship? Like it became an inside joke at that point. And I was like, yeah, like can I actually start? And he was like, seriously? Like, yeah, come on over. Like, let's do it. And yeah, I started my apprenticeship like that day.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that because I do think an apprenticeship, regardless of how long, there's so much you get out of it by working with somebody. Because, a lot of times in today's modern world, right? I'll be that old man.
Ooh, yeah.
Today's world, you kids that don't understand.
Young whippersnappers.
You little
Yeah.
whippers. So what's not so clear to a lot of people, and even people my age and older, I think because we get so wrapped up in the digital world, we kind of forget. And I say this a lot to even my apprentices. I probably say it every day to everybody because it's so clear to me that tattooing for so long and being so involved with a client for so long at such long periods at a time, it used to look like we would talk in the 90s and
Yeah.
like 2000, it was us like this.
Yep.
And then slowly at some point, phones started entering the conversation. Even if they were talking to you, they were still doing this to you, showing you things.
Yeah.
And that's common now. I get it. We're all using our phones as a tool. But what it turned into is in the chair, they would just sit there. Now they're just, and I get it. It's actually a really good distraction device
Yeah.
while you're in pain. I'm
Right.
not knocking it. I'm just saying that the shift from me looking at a customer from my position as a tattoo artist in my chair has been this to eventually
Yeah.
just this. And I'm like looking up at him like,
Yeah.
I'll just keep
I'm
going
just
to town.
a worker guy now.
But what I mean is, I think because of the situation people are in today with their interactions with digital presence, like I met you obviously offline, I saw your stuff, and I met you digitally, if you
Yeah.
would say it that way. But what's interesting is it's easy to forget that is a human on the other side. Not that you obviously didn't know you were. I knew you were a human.
Yeah.
At least I thought you were. I didn't know which human you were. I didn't know which one was the
That's
real
fair.
Woody.
That's true. You still don't.
Yeah, if you guys
Yeah.
if you guys watch this stuff, you might not know who the real
Yeah.
Woody is. We're showing hopefully him to you now.
I sleep in that wig. All right. So maybe that's the real me.
Yeah, so we'll find out one day.
Yeah. you
We'll see
might.
by the end of the show. After 2 hours, it's hard to fake.
It's true.
But what I noticed is people think of like likes and comments, and they think of things like the metrics that we find online. seem like just simply metrics online, but we don't realize it's all people on the other side.
Yeah.
Every like, every view, with the exception of a few small details, it's people on the other side. Every bit of money you've ever got, like machines don't pay you. Robots, unlike kids going to the ATM with their parents saying, just take out more money, mom. Machines don't pay you. So we have to understand that today, that it's every view, every like, every comment, every follow is a human being. And I think that that's easy for people to forget. So I guess the reason why I bring that up is because that's something I got out of the transaction of tattooing, because for me to tattoo, I still have to be with you. I really still can't do this any other way.
Right.
So far. Maybe one day there's like robots and AI and shit. But
I hope. I don't hope.
I hope. Then vape's gone. Then eventually tattooing's gone. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
I actually really like that thought of like there is someone on the other side. I kind of lost that for a little bit because like no one. This is gonna sound like the most first world problem ever, but like no one teaches you how to feel if a video goes viral. When you step back and look and you see, hey, 10 million people watched your video, and then you like conceptualize 10 million people, it's like, oh, I don't want that. Like that.
Like what?
Yeah, no, that's too many. I want less people to see that. Like, but I had to think of it like, oh wow, that is 10 million people or however many that gave you their attention. Like that's such an honor, because like you said, there's so many things you can be distracted by nowadays that, you know, those people were willing to sit down and like, you know, take the time to appreciate that thing you made. It really kind of brought me back to like, wow, no, it's actually cool that like people watch that, and some people hate it. That's fine. But like, thanks for your time.
Yeah, there has to be that end.
Yeah.
There's not going to be a point where everything you do, everybody's going to like. And obviously that's not the point of making
Should never be
things.
the goal, for sure.
Right. So let's talk about that then, specifically about the content creation. Is there any like parallels or a parable or whatever you call it, any connections between like the tattooing pushback you've got from whether it's a parent saying, just be safe. Why are you going to do that? Do that on the side. That's fine. Don't commit.
Yeah.
Or even some of the like tattooing, like that's kind of like you start getting tattoos, people look at you differently. Although I don't really experience that. People still look at me differently anyway.
Yeah.
But is there any sort of like parallel connections between that and like the video part, like in terms of the pushback or the praise or the attention?
I think the pushback comes from other tattooers that like don't want to see the industry making videos or, you know, doing the internet thing. I see more people complain about like, oh, now I got to be a content creator and a tattooer. It's like, no, you absolutely don't. But you're going to go back to like the days pre-social media where it was less busy, or, you know, you had to tell your clients, you're not allowed to cheat on me with anyone. Like it's just, you're going to go back to like a tougher time. Social media makes our job easier. You invest into it, you'll get more out of it. So the pushback comes from tattooers that don't want to see the industry change. I mean, other people that just like naturally hate social media or like hate seeing people, you know, dress up in silly outfits. But I don't really care about the pushback. I'm not worried.
That's good. I think if anybody hasn't seen his content already, you should, obviously.
Please.
He's on the show, so go back and watch it. Not yet. Don't go back yet.
Right.
But also,
Later.
if you guys are watching right now, which you are, or if you guys are watching later, you guys should be sending for sure thumbs ups. I only see a couple hearts and a couple thumbs ups. So give us some of these and give us some hearts and get in the comment section, of course. Like I said, I saw a few people asking questions. We will get to those. Evan, let's see, Lele, if you guys see any comments that you guys want to pin and prioritize, let us know. And we'll be able to address those later. But definitely, we should see a lot more thumbs ups. We should see a lot more hearts and support the show. Woody has definitely taken some time out of this is his Friday, so to speak, but he's taken time out to be able to do this with us. So let's show some love for that and get back into it. But we appreciate you guys, and we will get to the comments, I promise. So always prioritize those, Lele, so you can make sure to hit the star. Are you having fun, Lele?
Yeah, I don't know which ones to start.
If anything we should be responding to, we can go back later and look at.
Well, I don't know if this is a should, but it was kind of interesting.
Okay, Carr was the author of the book he read. So that was the book so that was...
Yeah, of the like quit smoking book.
You must not be the only one.
Yeah, no, it's worked for like all the celebrities read it.
Lele.
No, yeah.
I know. Sure.
It must have been Carr. That sounds right.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the sort of pushback part.
Yeah.
Because what's interesting about the tattoo industry, and it always has been so far as I've been involved in it, whether it's collecting tattoos or just looking at shops thinking they're cool, walking by, checking out the art, or tattooing myself and tattooing me being a tattooer and working in a business. So it's been very interesting to see that in any industry and in any sort of, let's say, anything that you could take sides on, whether it's sports teams or politics, there's always a side to take. And in each side is always the snobs, the pinkies kind of turned up.
Yeah.
And I don't care if you're a wine drinker or you're a Chevy driver or a tattooer or a tattooed or a nerd. I don't care what it is. The color of your skin, it could be the music you listen to. There's always the snobs in that category as well.
Right.
And what's interesting about the tattoo industry is it's not really, it's not industrialized. It's not in a position where it's like it has a standard, right? It's not like a medical practice or something like that. It's kind of like music in a lot of ways, where it's very open. Like, how do you regulate it in that sense, especially art? But what's interesting is, as rogue and underground and cool and tough and badass and fun and like rebel that it is, people still turn up that pinky. Oh, that's not real tattooing.
Right.
That guy's using this machine, or who does he think he is buying this offline and learning and doing his thing? So you're kind of touching on that, but I would like to go a little deeper because you have tens of millions, if not, I'm assuming hundreds of millions of views on your content in what seems like a short amount of time. We could talk about the details about that later because that does fascinate me.
Sure.
I think it's very fascinating, and it's something like I work hard at doing, is trying to reach people, and it seems like you just absolutely have it naturally, but I know that you've done the work and earned it.
Yeah.
So let's first talk, like I said, about the sort of industry and like that pushback and what you think about it as an artist, because we do need more people to share how they feel about that, so that especially the young people coming up, the people that are just trying and coming into the industry, it isn't the same it used to be, and there's something else happening, and I think it's all for the better. There's always a give and take. You're going to lose some things, gain some others. It's kind of like the internet. You're going to lose some things and gain up more, but talk to me about that, what your experience has been like, and maybe even what kind of advice you would maybe even give to younger people in that sort of way with content creation and tattooing, and maybe some of the pushback of learning at home.
Yeah. So I think there's a lot of tattooers out there that aren't in this for like the freedom of being an artist, right? They want the rules, they want the standards, they want to be, they want to have a metric to measure their art against, which like that sounds like the lamest version of being an artist to me. So I've like worked with like in like no disrespect to those guys, because they're killing it with their traditional tattoos or whatever they're doing and their very strict rules and guidelines. But that wasn't what I wanted to be about. I wanted to do this my way, have fun, make sure I'm doing the important things right, stay clean, stay sterile, do tattoos that are going to hold up well over time. But if we're not experimenting, we're not going to progress at all. We're not going to find the next way to do things. And there are like, when I got into it, I would say the biggest fad or trend was the hand poke tattooers.
Okay.
Of like, 5-7 years ago, that was like the big thing that everyone was, turning their nose up to. But they learned stuff that we can learn from, that they're only a small step away from the like incredibly talented Japanese tabori artists. Like, it's like to compare it to like the punk rock of tattooing. It's the ones that are going to break the rules. They're going to invent something new. And quite honestly, we need people willing to create content. We need people that are willing to do goofy, weird styles in order to progress. And people that are against that, like you can be against it, you can turn your nose up to it, but like you're going to be left behind.
Yes.
With, and that's great. If that's where you want to be there. But like, let's progress together.
So would you kind of say, like, let's say to younger people, or speaking to Dalen or Lele as an apprentice in a shop, Dalen, this is his second week. Happy birthday, Dalen, by the way.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yep. The big 1-5.
Happy birthday.
Oh, okay. I razz him. I still give him a little bit of hazing.
15, that's good.
Dalen, am I a good hazer? Do I haze a little?
Oh, like a fraternity.
Yeah. Do we haze?
Oh, it's like a fraternity in there.
Okay. Good.
That's cool.
That's good.
Yeah.
But it's with kind heart.
Yeah, it's with love.
It's with love.
Do you mind if I call you Dylan?
I'll take Dalen.
Okay, Dylan. Lele, do you think we give a good bit of razzing and some?
A healthy amount.
Okay.
A good dose.
good dose of Dylan. So I can call him Dylan because if with an accent, it is Dylan.
Yeah.
His name's Dalen, but if I'm Scottish, it's Dylan. Sorry.
Love that.
Anyway,
Yeah, no, it's
we
great.
do this every day. But I think that for younger people, they definitely need to know and hear that there is a sort of, it's art. Like, stop
Yeah.
being a monkey about it. And so, hard-headed and thick-skulled. It's art. So if you were to give advice to these young kids, where do you think you would draw the line? Because I see your work, I see your shop, I see what you're doing with your media and how you present yourself. And I knew what to expect meeting you because there's plenty of your presence online. And so, of course, there's more to it. But I think that there is something to say to these younger people of like, hey, just like be bold. Be
Yeah.
bold. Stop like the punk rock kind of scene of music. Like be part of the, like be the thing that drives the next sort of wave of something, or get left behind.
Right.
Which is fine. It's up to you. But where is, like, if there was a line, like aside from like morals and ethics, like don't hurt people, wear gloves,
Right.
be sterile, do your
Yeah.
best, don't be an idiot, don't be an asshole. But where would there be a line? Do you think?
Oh, I
ahead.
honestly don't know.
I got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was great. I didn't even know what you
Takes a
were
little
doing.
bit of time. I was just making her switch.
Yeah.
I just virtually switched.
Right.
There we go.
Yeah, I don't know where the line should be aside from like the moral and ethical, parts of it. Like, be an artist. This is still an artistic job, so like be that, do that. All my favorite artists of every other type of art pushed every boundary. So I don't know. I'm not the guy to stop anyone from being reckless. We just hired this guy Sam. Love him to death. His style's just like bizarre and funky and like no one else's stuff that I've ever seen. And that's the reason I hired him.
Right.
Like, he's not trying to be anyone. He's not trying to replicate any tattoos that he's seen out there. He just sits down, thinks, draws whatever his brain comes up with. And I love it.
Interesting.
So yeah, I just want to see more of that.
That's interesting. You just used a word that caught my attention, reckless, because in my life, I believe that you could be safe. You could be, essentially you could be safe. You could be neutral.
Okay.
You could be dangerous, or you could be reckless. That's kind of the modes of approach to something, right? Like, if you're going to ride a motorcycle, you should probably stay safe.
Yeah.
And if you're going to start doing something and maybe you get more skilled, then you can start approaching something a little more dangerous, but with caution, right? So you're being intentional about it with safety measures. If you're going to be reckless, like, there's people that are absolutely, like, Evel Knievel was reckless as all could be.
Right.
Some of the most famous people in their physical sports were reckless. What you said about art is like, be reckless. I always think about it like with tattooing, be professional and be clean and sterile and do all the stuff that's right to keep people safe as well as yourself and the public. But with your art, absolutely. Like, I've never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
But that's what drew me to art as a kid. I was always artistic and I was always drawing and I was always being creative. And then at 15, 16, I had this experience, which I won't get into now because I'd love to share that at depth at some point. But I had this experience with art that I realized I can do whatever maybe not with the actual application of a tattoo. Obviously, I'm going to do it professionally and clean and sterile. And also I want it to heal good.
Yeah.
So we're not talking about the actual method, but the actual expression of what you're creating. You can do whatever you want. There's no limitation. I just think that not only do I know it's special, but that's the thing that really was like, this is mine forever. I'll never turn back. Like that. Once I realized, I almost had like this little touch of like almost godlike power. Like, it was like his permission saying,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Go and do.
And I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
I can just do it. I have paper. I have a pen. I have a marker. I have a guitar. I could write down I can say anything I wanted. And I just like kind of always asked myself, like, if I were to push as hard as I could, if I were to really go deep, how far is that? I do it mostly with music. Like, when I write my own music and really for myself, truly, that is my thing now, since tattooing has become my work.
Right.
And I push with it. And I like try to go further. I'm like, what can I actually say? And I think art is supposed to be that, right? And so you're kind of saying that with being reckless. I think that would be great advice for artists. And it's funny because one of our mottos in the shop is just fuck it up.
Nice.
Like, I don't know what to do. Like, as long as you're being safe and clean.
Yeah.
Fuck it up. Dude, like, how is he going to get there?
Yeah.
And the more you fuck it up, the more you're going to learn, and the quicker you're going to progress. And I think that's the nature of things. And so I try to teach that to the apprentices, and I live by that myself, where sometimes I'm like, I don't really know. I'm just going to go for it.
Yeah.
And so it sounds to me like we definitely on the same page with that.
We agree on that.
So let's talk about actual tattooing.
Okay.
So now you have your own shop. Do you have one shop here in town?
Yeah.
Okay, so you have your own shop. You have people working with you.
Yep.
You've been an artist now for years in the tattoo industry. What has that been like as a tattooer, as a business person, because you're wearing lots of hats, obviously.
Yeah.
So what has that been like on your end? Because I think watching the videos and your content, it just looks like you're having a good time, and having fun.
Yeah.
But I've also watched a clip where you were like building the shop, and that took me back to when I was starting mine, and I'm like, everybody's like, "Oh, this place is so cool." I'm like, "If you
so
only
much
knew."
work. Yeah.
So can you share some of that with us?
Yeah, I'm neurotic, man. I'm up at 4 a.m. I'm drawing by like 4:30. I have a very set schedule that I like to stick to, because if I astray too much from it, I'm gonna have a bad time. One thing goes wrong, everything's gonna start going wrong. So I really like to stay on top of everything that I can. When I was building the shop, I was still working 40 plus hours a week just tattooing. So it was all weekends, spare times, cancellations. I'd run to the shop to put it together. We got the shop built in 2 months just from like
Super fast.
Yeah, and we did an expo in Atlanta and Maryland in the middle. Like it was all just I live by my schedule and I die by my schedule. So yeah, it's a lot of that. It's a lot of like I'm a bit of a control freak, so I need to be like the one in charge telling the people what to do. I'll take advice, great, but if it doesn't jive,
No go.
we're not doing it. Like we just have to stick to this. So yeah, I have a lot of fun because like I like to think about 15-year-old me would be so stoked. Like knowing, dude, you're tattooing? Like that's crazy. So yeah, I just I don't want to lose any of what I'm doing, and I know that I won't lose it by being militant about it and being just on top of everything.
Making your vision come true.
Yeah. So the shop thing kind of happened out of nowhere. It wasn't in the plan. I just honestly I needed an assistant, and the shop I was working at totally understandable. Like he was like, no, I kind of don't feel comfortable with that. I was like, great, I understand, totally cool, but now my days are numbered. Like because I need that. So it just talking with my wife. It was right before we left for Atlanta. I was like, what do I do? Like, how do I, if I can't have an assistant, like, do I cut one of the things, which is either I cut tattooing, I cut creating content. I have my website. Like, do I cut that? Like, what? I can't juggle all of them. And she was like, why don't you just start a shop? Like, just as simple as that. Even if it's a private studio that you work out of, yeah, you can have your assistant that way. It was like, yeah, we could totally just do like a private studio, one small room where we, I tattoo in that. And now we have a full shop, 2,000 square foot, 5 artists working in there, and just kind of got away from us in a very fun way. And
That's cool. So it sounds like
Yeah.
it took like sort of a life of its own, but
Yeah.
it sounds to me like there's a sort of reoccurring theme with Woody's behavior.
yeah.
Aside from like the video creation again, which really is what fascinates me, because I think in a lot of ways what you're doing and what I'm doing is similar enough that it's understandable between the two of us. But seeing you build your shop and going from there, it seems like a pattern, right?
Yeah.
Woody's got a pattern. That's why your dad told you can have parties, Woody, if you get
Yeah.
this house. And they said, hey, by the way, you're gonna have to pull back on the parties.
Right.
It seems like there's a reoccurring thing of people who want to make and create and express. And you're saying control freak. I totally accept that title, and I get told that a lot. But I think from my end and maybe from yours, it seems more like not control freak, but you have a vision. You've been
Right.
blessed with a vision. The blessed with a vision, which I don't believe comes from us. I think it's given to us,
Yeah.
and it works through us. I don't think we're the ones coming up with it. I think we're the ones receiving information and then expressing it. And that's such a gift. And also, you really can't tame it too easily.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you deal with a lot of that in your creative endeavors and try so many things. And so it makes me think, now that you got the video stuff going, you got your shop going, where does this go from here? Because I know it's not it. So
Yeah.
so where does it go from here?
Oh man, that has been honestly the question of this year, which is funny because in this year I got the shop, and it was like, okay, great. I've gotten more out of this like creating content thing than so many others, and I am so like I try to not use the word blessed, but like I'm well, honestly, just I've been blessed with so many things. I've made friends through creating content, got a shop out of it, like done all the things, traveled the country, right? I got the things out of it. So it's like, what more can I expect from this? Like, you know, I'm tapping every resource. So is it time for me to just realize like, all right, plateau out, you've done the things, you got what you got out of it,
Ride
do
the
it.
wave.
Yeah. That's not what I do, right? I can't do that. So the things that I've been playing with is I want to do longer format YouTube stuff. So like a sketch comedy half hour that comes out, I don't know, even if it's once a month, if I'm creating it in their longer format, because right now I got to keep everything to a minute or less. So there's a formula to it to keep it like in that time. So if I can play around with 15 minutes, if I can have like a 7-minute bit, like let's do it, right? So that's been the idea that I've been playing with and really talking about. And then, so one of the tattooers that I work with, her name's Hannah Evans, one of my favorite humans on this earth. She's incredible, right? Got to have her on the show. Love her to death. Write that down. So she one day was like, hey, I just tattooed this guy the other day, and he is drawing tattoo flash. He's doing everything like very right. He's fallen in love with the art. Now he's creating the art. He's collecting the art. Now he wants to do the art. He wants to be a tattooer. And she's like, because my wife is our apprentice right now. And I was like, I don't want 2 apprentices because I can't focus on more than one thing at once. So like 1 apprentice at a time. That's great. We'll do that. She's like, but you got to meet this guy. He's just great. He's just a great guy. You're going to enjoy him. So I'm like, all right, let's have him come in and chat. So he comes in. He's great. He's bubbly, full of energy. And I end up telling him, like, hey, I can't bring you on as an apprentice right now. Like, I don't want to take that from my wife. Like, but you can take a spare corner and paint if you want to. Like, you can paint in here and see how a tattoo shop works. Like, yeah, no problem at all. So he comes and does that. And after a while, we get to talking. And he says he went to college. And I'm like, oh, what do you go to college for? He's like, oh, screenwriting.
Dang it.
I know. I'm like, oh, of all things, like of all the humans, it's, you know, to walk in this shop, it's that guy, and
Yeah.
that's his, you know, special skill. And so we've kind of like shot around different ideas, and I'm just so busy with everything I got going on that I'm like, hey, next year, let's talk more about this. Like, let's, you know,
Explore that.
yeah.
So where do you think, I mean, it's the world is your oyster in terms of that, right? Like, what do you foresee now? Because to me, when I think of like what I was envisioning when you're saying that in my own way is there's always this mountain to climb, this mountain of work ahead of you, this mountain of experience you have to have, all these hurdles and speed bumps and all the obstacles in front of you, and you're willing to climb them, which you have multiple times in your life.
Yep.
With creating all the things you've done and gotten where you're at, is it clear to you that there's just another mountain in front of you, and people ask like, what are you going to do with it? Kind of like I'm asking you now. What are you going to do with it? And you know, like, what? I don't know. I got to get to the top of the mountain first to look to see what's available and what it's about. Does it seem like that for you, or is it like you're just kind of just doing what feels natural, like as a creative artist? Like, what is that sort of process for you?
There's like a planning stage where I like to like, okay, what are the things that can go wrong? What are those mountains I need to climb, get over in order to like start seeing this come to, right? So I like to sit down in the planning stage and figure that all out. And that's what we had to do at the shop. My wife and I talk about our favorite part of our house is the door that separates our living room from our garage is whiteboard painted. So if I have an idea, I'll have an idea in the shower, walk naked through the house, go up to the door and just start like writing whatever the thought was. Cause I'm like, I got too many thoughts buzzing around all day. If I don't write this down, we're losing it. So we just go and we wrote on there all the things we needed to get done with the shop in order to make it happen. And just being able to compartmentalize all those thoughts, see them visually in front of me, and able to just start chipping away at them one by one, definitely is like the process that I find works best. So
That's cool.
Yeah, just sitting down and doing that on the next thing.
Getting clear.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. I had a whiteboard. I had it for so long. I ended up having to take a picture of it because I wanted to use it for other things because it sat for almost, I hate to say, but almost 10 years.
Yeah.
And it started in 2013. And it reminds me of the wall you're describing. And I had all these things written on it. And by 2016, I had none of it done.
Damn.
And I was like, I'm just going to put it away. Like it was like one of the reasons why I like to write things down is for that experience of like gut check. And I
Yeah.
was just like, I really sat down in this kind of empty room at the time and was like looking at that thinking, this is who you are? Like, really? I thought you were somebody. I thought you were something else, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I thought something else was happening here, right? And then I was like, was that all a lie? Am I just a fraud? Do I belong here? Is this going to be real? And I remember taking it off the wall and setting it down, like trying to wipe it off. And I wasn't like emotional crying or anything like that, but I was like torn so deeply of like, do I just call it and that's
Yeah.
who I'm going to be for the rest of my life? I'm going to be that guy. I'm like, okay, well, let's just let it sit for a minute, right? I always don't make rash decisions. Let's just let it sit and get back to it. And I let it sit for a while. I ended up actually barely erasing it when I built this place because I was allowed to erase it. I'd done almost all of it
Nice.
in the next 4 or 5-ish years,
Yeah.
which still felt long. But you know what? Writing that down and putting it out there, it's almost like a not just a checklist, but it's going to hold you to it, right? Somebody kind of big brothering you, like looking down and saying, hey,
Yeah.
man, like you said.
Right.
And man, I'm so glad I did because then it all came true. I got the studio I wanted. I got the things I wanted, the tattoo shop. I remember writing down, and this was before I'd actually ever met Greg Sumi, who's been on my show multiple times. Great guy. And I wrote down, make a video with Greg. That's it. Make a how-to tattoo video, which I didn't know what it was going to be. It was just like something like, let's just share information with the world. There was a bunch of lists of people and things I wanted to make. And I did it. I did like at least what was realistic on it. Like there are some people on the show I want to have. For example, Carrie Hart, somebody I always looked up to growing up. I remember the first backflip in the X Games as a kid, watching
Yeah.
that and going, whoa, dude, like this. So anyway, and then he opened a shop, a huge, business. And I've just always been enamored by his what he does and what he accomplishes and his character. He just seems like such a solid dude. So anyway, I would love to meet him one day. And every time I go to Vegas, I check out his shops and, kind of look at it and be like, this is cool. I remember growing up, thinking about what he did and now what he's doing. And as an artist in the industry, it just matters a lot to me. So I wrote that stuff down, checked myself against it. So any advice I could give to anybody out there that's wanting to do something or feels like they failed, you've only failed if you gave up.
Right.
If just don't wipe off those things off the board yet, just get to them. And sometimes once you start to actually get the ball rolling, what you're going to find is that you wrote too much stuff on your board and you're like, okay, let's pick though.
Yeah.
Because you got to get started.
Right.
So it sounds to me like you've prioritized that and done that a lot in your life. And that has served you well. Is there other little things like that you do that really help you other than, again, obvious, like you talked about, sticking to your schedule and scripting and working on things like that? Like you make all these videos. I'm assuming there's quite a process to all the things you do. And I know it's a lot. I can only imagine. Well, first let me ask, does it ever get overwhelming and how do you mitigate that?
Yeah. I got really overwhelmed this time last year and there was just always so much going on. And it was like every minute of every day was starting to get crucial. So if things would go wrong, it was really throwing me off. So I just took a week off and like asked myself, how many videos do I want to put out every week? It went from 3 to where I was like, 2 might be good. 2 might be the right number. So I started putting out 2 a week, cutting out the things that like just didn't work out or didn't serve the goals anymore. But to answer the one question is like, another thing that I do is every day I just want to be one step closer to whatever goal that it may be. Even if it's a small step, like just, doing a step to get closer. So yeah, part of the how I'm able to get so much done too is I have like my wife is the biggest support system of anything I have ever wanted to do. She's just like, great, how are we doing it? Like, what do you need from me? What's our first step? What are we doing? So
Super cool.
yeah, like it was even in our vows. She's like, and I promise that when at 8:00 at night you want to run to Lowe's because you just had an idea, I promise to do that with you. Like,
That's so cool.
yeah. So I'm so fortunate to have her in my corner. My dad just retired. It was either this last year or the year before. And I was like, can I put you on my payroll to help out? And he was like, yeah, absolutely. Whatever you need. So I just have the coolest support system of, people around willing to help in every way that I can, in any way that they can. Yeah. So
Super cool.
yeah, that's how I'm able to get a lot of things done.
So you would say for sure it's a support system. You got this, not just family. I'm sure a lot of other people involved. Obviously, we're recognizing everybody, even just a viewer or somebody who supports your content. But you got this. If you didn't have that, if it was just Woody and just you doing your thing,
I
trying
hate
to
the thought. Yeah.
it doesn't sound fun at all. But
Yeah.
like, how much of what you're able to do is like really leaning against that? Like, if you were to get real specific.
Yeah, if man. So my wife has like been a like stay-at-home wife for the past couple years because like how much I tattoo and how much I work and how much I needed to be at the shop or drawing or doing everything was like, hey, I don't have the time to do the everything else of life. So she has taken that on herself 100% over the past couple years until we opened the shop and brought it in. So if I even think about like if I had to, man, like do all my own laundry, cook my own food, like everything, I would probably have to tattoo one day less a week for sure, which, you know, I wouldn't want to do. I'd probably put out a whole lot less content, if at all. Probably never would have been able to get the website off the ground because that is 3 hours a day of work. Like, no, yeah. I'd be a tattooer.
Yeah,
like,
you'd
you know,
just be tattooing.
I'd be a pretty, you know, run-of-the-mill tattooer. So,
Interesting.
yeah.
I think that's a really good message, though, to share because I do think a lot of, like I said, people don't realize there's somebody on the other end of pretty much everything. Everything you do, everything you want, everything you get paid, every like and comment, whether it's digital or physical, it's all another person on the other end that you're working with. And I always think about that transaction between me and the customer sitting in my chair. I don't tattoo if there's not a person in my chair.
Yeah.
I'm really not tattooing myself anymore, but unless there's a person in that chair, nothing gets done. And I take that and kind of translate that into the whole rest of my life. And I think about it like this. None of this gets done without another person on the other side. And the better the people you have on the other side, the more shit gets done, and it seems to just be a better life.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to hear that you are blessed and having that experience. It's not only wonderful to hear for me, but I can guarantee you, people watching, love
Right.
to hear that. So that's really cool. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah. And Brody Jade said she sounds amazing. She's the coolest human I've ever met. Like, you know, just to talk about my wife for a moment, she's just awesome. Big fan. Yeah. Coolest girl. I'm stoked that I get to work with her every day. Like, I get clients all the time that, like, in hushed voices will be like, so what's it like working with your wife every day? And I'm like, no, that shit's cool. Like, it's great. One of the, like, really cool perks is at the end of the day, I'm not in a rush to get home now to, like, spend those, like, quality hours. Like, we've been hanging out all day, bullshitting, joking, talking as a whole shop, like, you know, spending our quality time. Yeah, we're working, but we're having a great time. We're tattooing. Like, what a great existence we get to live. So, yeah, it's just like, yeah, she's the coolest. Super lucky, super grateful. If she's still watching, she could be asleep on the couch at this point for all we know. But, yeah, she's great.
That's awesome. Thank you
Yeah.
for sharing that too. That's really cool. I think
course.
that's super meaningful. And again, it's like when one of the other things that's very clear to me that has changed. It could just because I'm getting older, but when I first started tattooing, there was like this rock star status. I remember when I was a kid, somebody even told me, short of playing guitar, if you want to be a rock star, the next thing you can do is just be a tattoo artist.
Right.
And it was absolutely like that growing up. And I didn't really like that aspect of it. I never enjoyed it. I was very well aware it was there, and I definitely got to experience a little bit of it. And it was real. It seems like it's a little less that way now, and I really like that.
Yeah.
Now it's like, let's just make art, guys. Like,
Yeah.
let's get to work. Let's build something cool. Let's do what we want to do. And I really enjoy that aspect. I like that there's more women involved in the industry now, specifically because I think that it brings that element of respect to another level where it wasn't really there before. We have all the horror stories in the past of plenty of women, you know, just getting disrespected so greatly in a shop, whether they were customers or artists. And I think it's so cool that that the industry is changing and those stories are changing and adapting. And I don't know, there's something about that that's super cool. And I think, like, to what you're saying about your wife and your guys' experience together, just being able to work together as people. Like, I have Dalen, I got apprentices, Lele, I got people coming in all the time wanting to learn. I got students that come to our classes that we throw on occasion, and just seeing all of this in like such a positive way, it's super cool. And so you getting to share that with your wife sounds like some of you guys get to do together and really enjoy this industry and really put, say that message out there. Like it's, you're sitting around saying, hey, we got to change it, but you're being part of a change that's naturally happening in the industry. And I just think that's wonderful. I really do. I think that's not just a win for the industry, but a win for communities and people and humans, because I think I don't know. I just feel like today, I don't know. I'll go back to that. I think we get lost in that. I think we forget about the connections. We forget about the people, and we just kind of, I don't know, maybe it's just me. And that's why I'm saying it is I tend to do that time to time because I get so focused on something. And then I realize there's people on the other end. I always remind myself there's somebody in the seat. There's somebody there. And so I always do my best to like bring it back and don't want that rock star sort of experience. Although that's cool and it's great and I'm sure it's fun. But I think there's just something cooler just about just being a human and connecting and having that good support team.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, when I was coming up and tattooers were still rock stars and like, you know, the coolest. Somebody called me a hometown hero the other day, and I was like, don't they always burn out? Like, aren't they like, you find them in a gutter one day? Like, I don't think I want that.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's cool to be that anymore. So many tattooers that are incredibly talented, you would never know walking past them at Trader Joe's or whatever, because, you know, there is a whole lot more just humility in this industry now, and I am here for it. Like,
I dig it.
Yeah, it's super cool. I've met those tattooers that are like way too into it, and the people that get obsessed with like, you know, the views and all of that. And there's some oddballs out there, and like no hate or anything, but I just never wanted to be that. So I let them lead by example by like, I don't want to do what you're doing. Like you can be that guy. And
that's very cool.
Yeah.
Well, I can say I as an individual appreciate that. Aside from being a tattoo artist, just in general, I appreciate that because it is super cool to see that change. And I think it's a natural, we're part of an evolution of an industry it's fun to watch. It's fun to be part of.
Totally.
And I know that even like what I tell my students and people that come to the classes or apprentices that join me that want to learn from me, I tell them all the time, like, dude, all I'm trying to do, my best, it's not perfect, but my best is to put something into the world I wish I had. Yeah. It's really that simple.
That's cool.
So Woody, we're going to go to intermission.
Cool.
Give ourselves a little break.
Yeah.
If everybody watching sticks with us, we promise to get to the Q&A. We'll do that next. And stay with us. Don't go anywhere. We're going to take a quick intermission, and Evan, bring us into it. And we'll see you back in here in a few minutes. You got me. You caught the tater. Okay, mid-action.
The
Hope you didn't
tater.
Hope you didn't get my butt. Okay, we fixed the problem though. We got
Cool.
a bit of an
Yeah, we're
audio
back.
issue. So we're back. Thank you guys for sticking with us. We have a couple questions that have came in that we want to address, as well as some that came on Instagram. I'll do my best to answer all of them. If I don't get to them, you're just gonna have to forgive me. Forgive me and Woody. So
Please.
I'm gonna let you answer first.
Okay.
This is kind of your game here.
Sure.
So we're gonna get into these questions now.
All right.
So the first one that was coming from the feed was Mikey, and he's asking what, and this is probably the most mild I've ever heard him
Okay, Mikey.
respond or ask. So what's the type of art you have always wanted to try but never have?
Ooh, airbrushing, pinstriping. I think are the two that I think I'm most like visually attracted to, but have never put one. Oh.
We're back. It's okay, Bubba. Why are you messing with the audio? Okay, you thought we were muted. You freaked out. It's okay. He's got it.
Cool. We got this. I got an airbrusher and I did one thing with it, and I was really bad. So yeah, I think pinstriping, airbrushing.
Interesting.
Too. Yeah.
And so, have you tried pinstriping,
Not once.
dude? You got to try it.
Yeah.
I wish I still. I actually have some stuff.
Yeah.
We should
Okay.
pinstripe.
Okay.
I don't know a ton, and I'm not very good.
Right.
But I've done it. I have the brushes. I'd had to get all new paints.
Right.
I inherited a kit from an old school pinstriper, and so I have all the one shot old school it's an antique, really.
Yeah.
But it's all still good quality stuff when it comes to the brushes. But it'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Just to mess around. You just take a white paint and grab something and just start
do
having
it.
fun.
Yeah, that's
there's,
cool.
There's definitely a specific art to it. I love the pinstripers that are like this, and they're old dudes, and they get to the car and then.
Yeah. Exactly. That's their element.
Whoa, dude, it's so cool. This
Yeah.
guy Skippy that I learned a little bit from. I'm by no means proficient, but I've dabbled.
Right.
Like you, I just thought it was such a cool.
It's so cool.
You know what's going to be really cool is Mikey's going to appreciate this comment because he's the one who asked, and it's his dad who actually has done lots of airbrushing and pinstriping.
Wow.
So-
I didn't even know that. So
Didn't know
there
that.
you go.
Mikey. Okay, so next question is coming from Brody Jade. Brody Jade, thanks for being on here. All of you guys and
Brody
girls,
Jade.
thanks for being on here. Is family time something you have to schedule in?
Yeah, so I've talked about most of my family here. It's my wife, who now that I work with, luckily that's just in the schedule. And then my dad, yeah, him and I used to golf every weekend. I've been golfing since I was 8. And we used to go every weekend, but it just took so much time. Golf is a long hobby. So yeah, so my dad and I kind of got to figure it out a little bit. We've recently, he was in the military, so he always like shotguns, and very recently I was like, all right, let's see how I am at that. So now that's his and my new thing. So we try to plan to do that more. We're going tomorrow. Yeah. So yeah, I try to schedule time with my dad, and then we just talked about trying to do these like concise, but
No, it's all good.
cool. I hooked my dad up with my stepmom. So my stepmom is like one of my favorite humans, and so yeah, whenever we get to like go over to their house and hang out, I'm hanging out with just like some of my favorite people. So yeah, we try to do that as much as we can whenever we can fit it in. We're real busy, so yeah, we definitely have to schedule
Scheduling.
it. Yeah.
That's interesting. I think a piece of advice I heard years ago I'd never used a schedule my whole life, right? And I was much younger. My kids were little. They didn't need much at the time. Surprisingly, they start to need much more as you get older. But when they're little, it's actually pretty minimal, which is nice. People are always scared to like have kids. I digress a little bit. People are scared to have kids. Go, oh, it's so much. Dude, trust me, when they're first born, it's not as much work, at least after they're born,
Right.
till they get older, and then it's quite a bit more effort that you have to put into and a little more specific. But what I'm saying is that like time, that scheduling of time, I never used a schedule. And then I heard somebody say, you should live and die by your schedule, but it shouldn't be a prison.
Yeah.
Your schedule
fair.
shouldn't have a bunch of shit written in it that makes your life miserable. Like, I gotta pay taxes. I gotta do bills. Like,
Right.
Make your schedule something you'd want to live,
Yeah.
and then stick to it best you can.
Yep.
And so that serves you really well. And for people that don't use a schedule, I don't know who you are. I just don't get. I don't
yeah.
get you.
When you said like, yeah, I don't use the schedule, I felt I got stressed. like, ooh, why?
How are we even here right now?
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think schedules are utmost important. It's one of the best tools you can start getting used to using on a regular basis. So if your life isn't what you want it to be, I can probably bet you. Actually, I would put all my money on it right now. All the money I have in my pocket. Might be a lot. I got paid in cash today.
Yeah.
I would put it on the table and say that there's no way you're living the life you want to be living and you don't live by a schedule.
Right.
I mean this like at the high level. Like I'm not saying like, oh, I'm happy with my life. There's things you want to do in your life and you haven't been doing them and you know it. And the reason why you haven't been doing them is partly because you haven't committed to it and put it get it out of the ether and put it into reality.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of it. So live and die by the schedule, but don't make it a prison.
Love that.
So family is definitely something you have to schedule in. So you got his answer there. I know for me, it's very important to take that time. I will absolutely admit that as my kids got older, I kind of had this preconceived notion that as they got older, I would actually be committing more to my work, where before I just committed to kids, man. Every single Wednesday, I didn't skip that shit. Like I'm pretty sure even Evan, he's sitting behind the camera, he can vouch for it, that every Wednesday growing up was family night. Every single Wednesday and Sundays and Saturdays and Sundays, weekends for sure. But that weekday at 3 p.m., I'd get the kids from school and it was us.
Nice.
And I haven't been sticking to that as I've gotten older because they're also more independent. They're doing their own thing. They got a life going on. My daughter's like off in college and drives and all that stuff. But it's like, okay, now what?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, I was just going to get to work.
Right.
And now I work so much that I realize I need to start planning that shit. And it's hard when you're trying to orchestrate so many different people's lives that kind of have their own little feet now. Or I should say their own claws and their own meat hooks and their own things now.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so for that question, yeah, I think scheduling is important. I think some people believe that to be, this is us being concise.
Yeah, yeah.
Some people believe that the schedule is like a prison, right? They're like, oh, I don't want to have to schedule it. I want it to be free. Dude, you have more freedom with the more discipline that you inquire, that you put into your life in such a way that's structured so that you have the freedom.
Yeah.
So I think some people think of a schedule as like, I don't want to live by a schedule. Well, then you're not living.
Right, yeah.
So don't make it a prison. Okay, let's get to the next question. This is a long one, and I promise to try to read it my best. 2 of the dopest people I know, Justin Porter says.
Oh.
It's insane knowing Woody from
Seder. That was
Seder?
my vape shop. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And Josh, a longtime friend. Since the move to Texas, people I work with here have been following you guys for a while. You guys are doing everything right. Keep it up.
Crazy.
Right on.
Yeah.
That's cool to hear.
That is.
Is there anything you want to say to Justin Porter?
Hey, Justin, man, when I actually read this comment just a moment ago, and yeah, I absolutely remember you from the shop, so that's super cool that, you know, this is like your 2 worlds colliding right here. But yeah, I really appreciate that. Whenever someone takes the time to like message me online and, you know, say they're happy for what I'm doing or proud of whatever, like that really means so much, especially from people that I know or have met or remember, whatever it is. Like, I don't know. You taking the time out to write that is super cool. Like, you know, it definitely fills my cup, as they say.
Yes.
You know?
My cuppeth runneth over.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I dig that.
Yeah, super cool. Thanks for writing that. Really means a lot.
Justin, you're awesome, and I hope you and your family are doing well in Texas.
Yeah.
I'm sure you are. Texas is. It looks like they're vibing really well with Texas.
That's awesome.
So that's really cool, and I hope the best for your family. He's supposed to have been here in October. I'm not gonna throw him under the bus, but I thought we were gonna. I thought
Damn.
cigars, whiskey. Anyway, okay. Let's get to the next question. This is actually going to be, and you guys, and so Evan, let's get to the live stream. So if you guys have any questions, now's the time to ask them. If there's something you asked before and we missed it, and you would like to ask it again, try to make them short and sweet if you can. But we'll do our best. And Evan, you can go ahead and star them so that we can prioritize them. But I'm going to get to the ones from Instagram. And so let's do this. Some of them aren't questions.
Yeah, sure.
You're really hot.
They are talking to you. Come on, get out of here.
I actually just made that up because I wanted to feel good.
Yeah.
So, question, Josh: Have you never been in a this is Mikey, by the way. Mikey, I already explained who you were behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So they know who you are now. So, question, Josh: Have you ever been in a fist fight as an adult, for real? Nobody ever stepped to you because you look like Thor's little brother. Ever been in a fight ever? Question mark. It's funny you ask this because I remember one time stepping up to a kid who tried to punk him. He was littler, and this kid was my age at the time, and Mikey's like a little brother to me.
Okay.
And this kid stepped up to him, and I just felt this protective bone, and I don't know what or where or how it happened, but I was just like, I will fucking kill you.
Nice.
And I was like, anyway, so that's Mikey, and we go way back. He remembers my punk rock years.
Yeah.
And so he's asking, ever been in a fight as an adult? Absolutely. Plenty of them. And I'm not proud of them. I'm not happy about it. And I'm super glad those days are over.
Yeah.
I want to say I have a violent dark path. Do we have any music? Can we cue some?
Oh, your pupils got big. What?
Oh,
They're all black. Ah.
geez, what's in his schedule? Fights.
Fights.
Bloody knuckle,
Friday
bare
night
knuckle.
fights.
So backyard bloody knuckle fights. No, but it's Mikey remembers that version of me. I was young and I was full of it, and I'm glad I did it. I think it was fine that I thankfully came out of it sort of unscathed.
Yeah.
But as an adult, the last time I got to bring this up to this question, and since he's directing it to me, but we're gonna also direct it to you. In
I love
the fight
this
part.
Great.
So one of the last, so I went to the gym. It was like 4 a.m. I got in this altercation with these guys on the road that I couldn't back out of because of where I was parked and where they were, and they kind of blocked me in. And I'm like honking at them, like get out of the way, let's go. I want to go home, and my kids are waiting for me. It's 4 a.m. and they're gonna get up for school soon, and I'm gonna start work. So anyway, I'm all pumped up from the gym. I'm all excited. I'm ready for my day. I'm in a positive mood. It's crisp outside, and these dudes just started with me. And I'm backed in a corner, and I think it was 3 of them, might have been 4, got out of their car, and they were 7 feet tall, the size of Thor. And so they all got out of their car, and I was like, I don't know where I'm going to go. I can't run them over. I'm not going to hit their car.
You could run
And
them over. Okay.
I could.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, like, what? I'm not going to just sit here.
Yeah.
So I was like, do I floor it? What do I do? So anyway, I won't tell you exactly what I did on camera, but I will
Okay.
say this, that they all got back in their car,
Nice.
shut the door, and took off.
Yep.
And I was like,
Me too.
thank you, because
Yeah.
I was not excited. And what hit me was, what I did, I shouldn't have done. Is the way
Okay.
I reacted, I shouldn't have reacted. When I got home, I was like really thankful that I got home.
Yeah.
I got home and I saw my kids asleep, and I was like, I think I'm done with this,
Yeah.
of responding this way. And that was, almost 10 years ago.
Love
And
that.
so anyway, no, I haven't yet, but I wouldn't. Well,
Yeah.
if danger's there, then danger's there. But I haven't had to, and thank goodness. And I think the key to that is just being smart, not being in like, oh, fuck with me and I'll do. No, dude, don't put yourself in dumb situations. That would
Sure.
be my advice. But let's go to you. Woody.
Yeah,
When's the
great.
last time you've bare knuckled in the backyard?
Okay. So I don't know if you remember like earlier today. I would love to be tough, right? I would love to. But do you remember earlier when I was like, hey, can I run home and grab my inhaler?
I wasn't even going to bring that up.
Yeah. That's how not tough I am.
Someone's all, you want to go? You're like,
I'm like,
wait,
hold on. Yeah.
I'm going to get my inhaler.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great.
I am 5'7", so no one tries to start a fight with me, right? Like 5'7" with shoes on. No one feels tough fighting me, right? You're tall. So like there's someone in a bar that like looks at you and they're like, I'm gonna take that guy out.
Who does
No.
he think he is?
Right. People want me to like, like give me a piggyback ride. That's not
Put you in your basket and ride you to the
yeah,
store.
no one's trying to fight 5'7". So
Okay. Interesting.
yeah, no, the only fights like, back in like mosh pits and shit, you get mad at someone
Right.
and that the closest I've ever come, because yeah, you're throwing fists and whatnot, but I fought my brother plenty of times, but no one else other than that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Sheldon, when's the last time you've been in a fight?
Nah, that guy doesn't look like a fighter.
I wouldn't want to fight this
No,
guy. I'll tell you right now.
absolutely
Like,
not.
He's one dude I think about. And I'm like, I love, and I'm glad he's on my side. He's a big
Yeah.
teddy bear,
Mhm.
but the teddy bear that he is a grizzly.
Sure.
So I love you, Shelly. But when's the last time? 10 years?
Oh,
So we've grown up.
yeah.
Mental high five that.
Hell yeah.
Right on. No, we're not. I'm glad that you don't have a mic. We're not bringing that altercation up. But yeah, we did almost get into it, and actually, somebody watching remembers.
Right.
I know that she's on here. So let's get to the question part again, and not digress too much. So that was
Okay.
the question about the little brother asking me if I've been in a fight ever as an adult.
Yeah.
Yes, and I'm not proud of it, and I don't recommend it. But I also wouldn't tempt me. So, damn, that sounds like a threat.
I also wouldn't tempt you.
So the next question is: see you on YouTube.
Okay. Yep.
Okay, so here we are.
Yep.
Is there anything coming up lately that we should, or Evan? Okay. Exactly grown up but still capable. There you go. That's what Rochelle's saying. I like that. Mikey said the inhaler was key move. That's awesome. Mikey says Josh's sister probably has some fight stories for real. So not only does she, but I've seen my sister beat the ever living out of somebody before
Yeah.
in a gym. And I was like, that's my sister.
Yeah.
I literally was like, what's going on? Who is this? And they're like, it's your sister. It's your sister. I get people out of the way. I look, this girl's bloody on the floor. and I was like, which one's my sister, right? They kind of looked similar. No
Yeah.
offense, sis. You're beautiful. But my sister was on top. And this girl had her hair, I think, and my sister was just getting her, and I'm like, oh, she's good.
Yeah.
And I walked off.
It's just
So
like back to chest
I guess
day.
it just runs in the family. I'm back to chest day. Yep. Don't skip leg day.
Right.
So next question, and this comes also from Instagram, I believe. Why is Sheldon so sexy?
He asked it.
He actually is the one who asked it, of course. Why is Sheldon so sexy? In the comment, guys, in the comment section, if you guys want to go ahead and let us know why it is that Sheldon's so sexy, since he's the one who said this.
Yeah.
If you guys don't believe me, I could show you, but he's the one who said this. Why is Sheldon so sexy? So you guys in the comment section, go ahead and answer that for me. My
Right.
answer is his burliness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look at that. Look at that guy. We need like the lion's roar for you. Roar. That's a long moment.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, next one is kick ass today. Wait, do you want to answer? Do you have any
The mustache. Yeah, I
Why
think
is Sheldon-
it's definitely it's got a good mustache. Yeah, it's buff. Yeah, wouldn't fight him.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Oh,
Ambria Smith says he's not.
all caps. Damn.
She means it.
Wow.
That was deep. There's always those people.
Woof.
Mikey says Sheldon is the best sidekick in your motorcycle videos. I want to be friends with him. Yeah, that's awesome. Mikey is a homie of mine growing up. Yeah, like a little brother. Okay, next one is also not a question. It says, kick ass today, guys. Looking forward to learning and laughing.
Nice.
So they already knew that obviously would happen. Wait, Big Bang for this as a person. What is it? Oh, okay. All right, so we're going to get some real questions.
Okay. Yeah. Here we go.
We always appreciate these. Well, I guess this one's about me, but the next ones won't be, hopefully. Joshua, I know you're pre-ordering. Okay, I thought you said protecting. Pre-ordering for merch, but will there be extra at the shop? Yes, the answer is yes. We're actually coming out with merch. I was hoping it was going to be here because we wanted to grant you one of the first shirts ever and being on our show, Artistic Freedom, because
Yeah.
we just are getting them in print, and they'll be available any day now.
Nice.
But those will be, yes, they'll more than just pre-ordering. There will be some left in the shop, and you guys can pick them up in-store or order online. So if you want to get one, though, the reason why we're pre-ordering is because if they're gone, Sheldon, if you want a size, it's a lot of merch, and I can't just do like 20, 30 different sizes in each shirt right away. So if you want one, you're going to have to go online, pick it up, select in-store, and then when it's ready, we'll email you, and you guys can come get it. Secure your spot. Okay, I hope I'm not getting too loud because I don't have good feedback in my headphones, so I hope I'm not like destroying the audio.
No. You,
Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go. Is there any part of the body you won't tattoo?
Yeah. I don't tattoo the inside of lips. Yeah. I don't like drool at all.
That's my thing. That's my bugaboo.
Yeah. I can't do it. I've done one. I did a guy's ex-girlfriend's name on the inside of his mouth because he just he was
Like
like
it
oh.
was his ex
Yeah.
already?
Yeah. And stayed his ex. Funny enough.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Brittany. So if you're Brittany, if you're out there.
Yeah, Brittany Smith.
Yeah. So yeah, I did that, and he just drooled and leaked, and oh god, I'm getting queasy.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you won't do the
I
internet.
won't. I tattooed on a nipple once, and I didn't love that.
Was it nipple sleeve?
I did the whole nipple sleeve.
The whole nipple sleeve?
Yeah, no.
Two nipple sleeves?
I did a mandala on this girl's nipple, and that was totally fine, and I was super professional about it, of course. But she walked in with her sweet little mom with her, right? But she didn't tell her mom what she was getting tattooed until they pulled up to the parking, up to the shop. So her mom was pissed,
It's
right?
like, really?
Yeah. So they walk in, and she thinks I'm a creep because her mom's never met me. So she's just staring me down, and I'm like, "Hi, come on back, let's do this." And it was just horrible skin. So
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I've tattooed a full nipple once. A friend of mine had pretty much his whole torso was covered, and he goes, "Dude, it just feels weird to be so tattooed and just nipples."
yeah,
And he goes, "Can you just black it out?"
okay,
And I actually was just starting TikTok at the time. If you guys didn't know, I have a channel. It's nowhere near tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands. Actually, I don't know how many people watch it. To be honest with you, I don't use it very much.
yeah,
But I should. And I'm glad that you do. You are on TikTok.
Yes.
Okay. I haven't watched your stuff there, but on Instagram,
Right.
of course.
it's all the same stuff.
Same stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. But with the nipple one, I posted the video
Mm-hmm.
and they took it down.
Yeah,
I was like, it's a dude. And I've seen way worse
yeah,
kids doing. And I'm
right.
like, so anyway, I was like, I kind of got discouraged. So
yeah.
I'm trying to make this stuff. And here I am tattooing this dude's nipple. And it was weird Nipples don't like to take ink.
No, at all.
Yeah.
And I was doing dot work.
Yeah.
And so
It's
like
it almost
boing.
can't.
Yeah.
Like I tattooed a nipple on a said person once, and I literally couldn't do it.
Yeah.
It wouldn't take anything. And I was like, no, what? No.
Yeah.
This thing is not going to get me.
Right.
And so I did everything. I had that thing stretched out,
Yeah.
put my foot on it, held it, and it didn't work.
Nothing. Yeah.
Nothing, literally nothing stuck. I was like,
Cool.
oh, well, I guess there's some parts of the body you almost can't get it to stick.
This is the stuff tattooers never talk
Yeah,
about.
what the heck?
Yeah.
No nipple sleeves,
Yeah.
guys. I guess it
Too
depends on how
bad.
big the nipples are.
It's true. I have little cat nipples.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
I like the cat ones. My favorites are the fadeaways, the ones that really don't have a border.
Sure.
I don't believe in borders.
Yeah.
Okay.
Infinips?
So is there any part of the body you won't tattoo? For me, I typically won't tattoo certain parts of the body. It's not that I won't. It's not like a real hard rule. But if you can't have a bikini on, I'm probably not doing it. But
Right.
there's wiggle room. So the other thing is, for me as an artist, I do a lot of portraiture and realism. So I want perfect canvas. So
Yeah.
I want arms. I want outer arm, inner arm, calves, flat spaces. I don't do a lot of torso work. So really, if I don't do the area, like torso work is so freaking hard. And so I just try to skip it because the type of work I do, I don't want to put a face on your waist that's going to change shape and
Yeah.
hold symmetry. So I just don't do it for artistic reasons, not for moral reasons or anything.
Sure.
Okay, so let's get to the next one. What sparked your ideas? Oh, this is for me.
Okay.
What sparked your idea for funny videos?
Oh, well,
Wait, no, this is for. Wait, she meant me.
no, yeah, it's you.
She meant
That's
me.
on you.
I was gonna say, definitely for you.
Yeah. Okay, so I used to do a thing on Instagram where I would just post up the question box and say, hey, if you want to ask me any questions, ask me, kind of like we did today. And instead of just responding, yeah.
If you want.
Instead of just responding with just, simple answers, I would always try to make a video and make it fun. And the question that would always get asked every single time was, is there something you've always wanted to tattoo but haven't gotten to? And my super lame response to that is like, no, if I wanted to tattoo it, I would draw it up, release it as Flash, and somebody would probably get it. But that's just a lame answer no one's having any fun with. So I sat and thought for like 10 minutes of like, what could I come up with that, nobody would want? And the idea was I want to do a unicorn, but instead of a horn, I want it to have a corn dog for a horn, a unicorn dog. And it's just a dumb throwaway joke, but I would say it every time because that question would come up every time. It would come up twice sometimes, and I would answer it just like straight-faced. And every time I would say that, there'd be like 30 people that'd be like, I'm in. Like,
Unicorn dog.
Yeah, unicorn dog, sign me up. Let's do it tomorrow, whatever. And would never do it. It was the mysterious, unseen unicorn dog. So when I knew that I needed to start making videos for TikTok, for Instagram, for all the, algorithms and whatnot to still be relevant or still get my page out there, I was like, screw it. I'm going to draw the unicorn dog. And I really thought it was just going to be a joke for like the 20 or 30 people that knew. That was always like my, silly little answer. I thought my clients and I would laugh about it for 3 weeks and then I'd never make a video again. And I made the first video. It took me like 2 weeks to shoot the video because so much went wrong, and posted it up, went to sleep, woke up the next morning to like 300,000 views and was like, what happened? And, at this point, 10,000 people being like, I will fly to you. I will come get the unicorn dog. Like, let's do this. And so from there, I was like, okay, let's do a second silly one. Another, the second one was a dragonfly, but fly body, dragon wings. And the joke of that video was, my grandma's favorite bug was a dragonfly, so I draw this heinous thing, and they're like, not
Right.
that. So yeah, that was like, okay, time to just draw silly, punny, weird, funny things.
And so that was the birth of it. Like that.
Yeah.
That was the first video.
first one,
First one. And so that was the unicorn dog.
unicorn dog.
And I've watched a lot of your videos, and I will say, actually, my son is the one who turns me on to your stuff.
Nice.
He found you. Was like, hey, you should check out this guy's stuff. I'm like,
Yeah.
he's in Fresno.
Yeah.
Like this stuff's rad.
Yeah.
And I mean, I like making videos. I try to be funny, and sometimes I have it in me, but it seems like it's natural for you, right? Like it's just who you are. And
Appreciate it.
when you get on there and you make these videos, like I think, okay, I've seen the unicorn. I haven't seen that one. I'm gonna have to see
Yeah,
that
yeah.
one. It's probably if I have to scroll
all the way down. Yeah.
So the recent ones that I saw, I'm like, you'll do something like a butterfly or whatever, and you'll take these sort of compound words and make it literal.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how many can he do? And then I keep watching. I'm like, oh, I guess you could just keep doing it.
Yeah.
It's very engaging, like surprisingly. 'Cause
Yeah.
You might think sometimes, like with this show, for example, like I just want to interview people and get their story. Like when I messaged you, I was like, I just want to talk to you about it from artist to artist and just share. That's it. Just like
Right.
who is this mysterious Woody behind the scenes?
Yeah.
Under this beautiful blonde wig and these. Anyway, so
Yeah.
I thought like, what is this show about? I got to do this. I got to do a Q&A. I just got to share stories. That's all I'm doing. Like,
Right.
I don't have to think too much about it. I want to have fun. I want this is technically my downtime, although technically some people are working. This is my downtime and I enjoy it.
Yeah.
But I struggle so much with like, just do this one thing. It worked. So just keep doing
Yeah.
that. But it seems like you've been able to find that sort of niche and enjoy it.
Yeah. I will say, not to like take too much away from that, but I've definitely found myself enjoying it a little less because there is such a formula to it that like I had to take a step back this year because I was like, am I doing this for me anymore? I was kind of talking about that earlier. Like, you know, am I still creating this for me, or am I creating it because of the formula? And, you know, it's ultimately a business of mine to, you know, create this content. So I had to step back a bit and be like, okay, I like making videos. I like making people laugh. I like, you know, making weird, funny stuff. So I want to keep that going. So I've pivoted a little bit in what I create and what I put out there. And I have ideas coming up that are going to kind of do the same thing. But yeah, really it was just luck that the one thing I came up with kept working. Like,
Interesting.
It just kept working out.
That's
so.
really cool. Well, I'm glad you're doing it. And of course it's going to evolve, right? Like,
Yeah.
Everybody always gets mad. Their YouTuber changes it's whatever, guys.
Right.
Like, we're not in a box.
Yeah.
Like we're not going to do
We're
that.
creatives.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
So you're going to have to let it happen and enjoy it while it lasted if you don't want to continue. But
Right.
a lot of times people find that like, oh, the change isn't so bad. Like
Yeah.
people get mad if you like change a room.
Yeah.
Like anyway, so I won't
No, I get it.
go too far down that road. So that's what sparked your idea for the funny video was the unicorn dog. That's
Unicorn
awesome.
dog.
So here we go. Where is your least favorite place to tattoo someone?
That like back armpit skin is like really gross. I really don't like when anything's involved there. Like ribs, naturally, I feel like that's everyone's kind of cop out answer. I don't like when I'm tattooing like on someone's shin, right, and their foot is like right there. Like there's
Legit.
just like no good way to like work around it. I don't like that.
That is hard.
Yeah.
That's real
yeah.
hard.
I don't like feet at all. So when one has to be like right there in my mug the whole time, I'm not having a good time.
So we know you're not going to go from funny videos to the foot thing.
Yeah, no foot
No
content
foot-
coming
okay,
out.
No
Yeah,
foot content.
yeah.
So we know that for sure.
for sure.
So anywhere. So it sounds to me like you have maybe germaphobe. I don't know if I should go that
Yeah,
far, but
yeah.
just something about there are body parts you just don't want to be there.
Yeah,
Like I don't want to be involved in this.
yeah. Like keep your feet. Like good
Yeah.
for you for having those, but I don't.
You know, it
Keep 'em
would
to
be.
you.
I should do this. I haven't done it yet, even though because it's not that common. But when it does happen, I just wish I had like those prison socks. They give you those cheap ass.
Yeah.
Just, here, take these and get it. Like just something to put on their feet.
Yep.
We'll usually take these little booties that we use to walk out to the trash time to time if it gets real bad outside and we don't want to bring it inside.
Right.
We use these little doctor's booties or whatever.
Oh, that's so smart.
Just put that right over their foot, man.
Yeah.
Like I've wrapped people's feet in saran wrap.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm like, you are not getting those anywhere near me.
yeah.
This dude came and got a foot, two tattoos, one on each foot. And I remember he took his shoes and his socks off, and I'm thinking like he knows he's coming in for this. He didn't do anything to prepare for coming in for that.
Okay, so here's my story. I don't ever like to shame anyone, right?
Right.
And that's not what I'm trying to do. But I did a guest spot at this shop that will go unnamed, and they had this rule that if you were on their massage table, your shoes were not allowed to be on, no matter what, right? Like could be totally hanging off. If you're on the table, shoes are not involved, right?
Right.
So this girl's getting her calf done, and she's like going to hop up on the table. I'm like, by the way, you're not allowed to have your shoes on. And she goes, oh, God, no.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
And I was like, yeah, I know. It's like kind of a stupid rule, but yeah, you can't do that. And she goes, I haven't changed my socks in a while.
What?
I know.
This is verbatim.
This is, yeah. Oh, those were her words. And I was like, like, yeah,
She's being legit.
yeah. and she like staring me dead in the eye, like, don't make me do this. I was like, there's nothing I can do, because they also had this weird thing that like I wasn't to communicate with my client. They were going to do that all for me. Yeah. Like I got the client and then I was like, okay, thanks for the deposit. Now you're theirs now. Like, I'll see you when I see you.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, did they not tell you that? Like, no, I would have
Wow.
washed my foot in the past week.
That sucks.
Yeah.
She's like a marathon runner doing like some ultra thing for a week
Yeah.
and just didn't have time.
Yeah.
Got a towel.
That was it. That was probably your background story. Yeah. I was dizzy by the end of it.
No.
Yeah, it was so fun. And so I'm like tattooing her calf, and she's tall like me, and so her foot was like here the whole time. So like I just felt like I could just smell it.
Dang.
Oh,
You know what?
So bad.
It's a real thing. I mean, we've got to work with people, obviously.
Yeah.
And there are times where you're like, I think I'm getting the aroma is penetrating.
yeah. I'm queasy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
So wash your feet.
Please.
That's the
Please
best.
wash your feet.
And take care. Look, just take care of your nails. Wash
Yeah.
your feet. Take care of your nails. And
Yeah.
just don't be silly. Let's take care of it.
Don't be silly.
So
Love that.
next one is, coming from Instagram is handsome.
That's once again, that's you. Stop
That one's
it.
for you.
Think so?
Yeah. I mean, the last one was for you. The
Did-
first two were for you.
okay.
Same person.
Oh, same person.
Handsome.
Yeah. They didn't say handsome little guy, because then that would be me.
There is a little emoji.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Maybe.
Thank you. I try.
So the next one's coming from Brody Jade. I'm saying it because she's on
Okay.
here and she loves to ask questions and we appreciate her. And she's saying you two should make a funny video together.
Yeah.
We
think
did.
We did that.
We did.
Yeah.
So
That was great.
we did it for you. You're welcome.
Yep.
Here we go. What's your escape/breather, me time, or a tiny recharge or break?
Yeah. So before I came today, I went shooting, and it was the only time that I did that alone. That was great. Like I was just so, I don't know. Yeah. Well, what I really liked about it was there is a simple goal of it, right? It's like make this, do that right there, and nothing else. And like,
Satisfying.
yeah, loved that. So that's been like my recent thing. It was golf for a while. I'm a very competitive person, so I found myself I was not relaxing because I was competing for 6 hours against my dad. Like, not fun. But
Not
yeah,
talking on the way home.
yeah, seriously, he would beat me by one stroke and be like, "Yes, whatever." Like,
It's
fine.
whatever.
Yeah, fine. Yeah, great job, Dad.
Cool.
But yeah, so that's been my new hobby that I've really been enjoying.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And that's your me time/recharge.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was good.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How often? Like, what's the frequency?
I'm trying to do it like weekly. I think my other like more simple like me time is I leave for work at like 6:30 or so, and then my wife or my first client doesn't get in until 10, so that's like my time. Like I'm in the
Right.
shop doing my thing. I'm like filling orders and all of that, but like it's me. I'm listening to whatever I want to. So
What happens if you don't get that time?
I'm probably a little difficult to work with that
Your
day.
feet start to stink.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I'm that guy now.
Yeah, for sure. It actually happened last week. We had a guest artist, and he does like large format stuff, and was just like, "Hey, can I start at like what time do you get here?" I'm like, "Oh, like 7." He's like, "Can I start at 7?" Being a gracious host, I was like, "Yeah, come on in." Now that day sucked.
Yeah.
I didn't get my
You
time.
didn't get your time.
Yeah.
It does change things.
Yeah,
I find the same thing. Like if I have my routine and as soon as if I show up a little bit late, meaning I'm there at about the same time as the client,
Yeah.
or I got like a couple minutes before they got there, I'm in a different mood.
right.
One guy came in and that's when I really had to check myself. He came in and I'm setting stuff up and he probably could tell that I was like bothered by it. I was just like, "Hey, I'm going to get ready. I'll be with you in a minute." And I'm kind of setting things up and he goes, "You okay?"
Yeah,
And I don't even know this guy. He's just a client that is scheduled 6 months ago. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm good. Like I had to like just snap out of it, dude.
Right.
It was rough, but it really like matters, your little routine kind of thing. So,
totally.
interesting. Next question is also coming from Instagram, and this is, does creating content... Actually, you know what? Before I get to this one, let's answer some of the ones on here since you guys are so patiently waiting and live with us, and I appreciate you. Ambria is asking, do you add in ashes of deceased to any tats?
So that second one, that's for you.
Oh, there was a second one?
yeah.
I didn't see it.
It basically
You
just
guys
said,
took it
please,
down.
please answer. Would you do
please
that?
answer.
Yeah.
I will definitely answer. So I will say this, that I try not to turn up my pinky to anything, but there is one thing that gets me,
Yeah.
and I hate the word tats. I do.
Yeah.
I always have. In prison, they call them tacks
Okay.
or tats or whatever,
Right.
but I don't know what it is about that word.
Right.
I just can't stand it. But totally free to use it. I'm not saying don't. I just let you know that's one of my little pinkies up kind of moments. But do I add ashes to the deceased? As long as you take the remaining ashes with you, please. Almost every, I know this is crazy. This sounds crazy. Every single time.
Yeah.
And of course, I don't have to say names, so I can tell you this. Every single time someone brings, this is the only picture of Grandpa. I want it on me, portrait. I'm like, okay, cool. And they leave. I'm like,
Wow.
oh, I have the tattoo now, so I don't need the picture of
Yeah.
Grandpa. It doesn't mean anything to you anymore. It's like a band. I hate to steal their relationships. And then same thing with ashes. They'll come and say, can you put this in the ink? I'm like, sure. I mean, I will be honest with you. It doesn't actually go into you. It's not that.
Okay,
But we
yeah.
can bless the ash.
Sure.
I don't mind. And it's completely, let's say, sterilized in the sense, not decontaminated, but it's sterilized. I mean, anyway,
Right.
don't want to get into the details there. You understand what ashes are. But every single time they leave the thing that they brought the ashes in.
Yeah. That's
And I'm
just
like-
yours now.
And I'll message them. So I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to, that is really awkward. Like, I don't know what to do with Grandpa, the rest of them. Like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And I feel so, you know how weird it is to just go,
Bye, Grandpa.
it's like,
Yeah.
I don't even know your name, buddy. Like, I don't know. Just there you
Grandpa's
go.
being
man.
rehomed.
Yeah.
I love
Wait, what'd you
that.
say?
Grandpa's being rehomed.
He's rehomed.
He's
We're putting him
rehomed.
in a new
Yeah.
home. We are putting Grandpa in a
Man.
home, a new home.
That's
That's
fantastic.
awkward.
Yeah.
Don't put me in the position. So, Amber, to your question, yes. I should say this. Allegedly, I do.
Yeah.
And allegedly, some people do. So, allegedly, I have before, depending on the sources. But I will say this: that it's awkward when you leave allegedly ashes behind. I have probably about 3 baggies, and containers, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
I did. It's just. It's
And I
it's-
don't like it.
yeah, I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Yeah, just
Yeah.
mix them now, and you know who this is. Like, it could be anybody at this
Yeah.
point. It could be any one of us.
That is so funny.
So yeah, allegedly you can, and I have, but I won't. I don't recommend it, and please don't leave your remaining behind.
I
Yeah.
think she was also asking if you would still do that today.
Allegedly, I have.
Okay.
Yeah,
Alright.
and yeah. So
Yeah.
if you want more information, please contact
his
me.
lawyer.
Yeah, talk to my people, and we'll
Right.
get a hold of you. Actually, that's a good segue before we get to the rest of these questions. There's a couple more. How do people get a hold of you? Where do they find you? Where's your shop? Like, what is Woody created out in the world that people can be part of?
Yeah. You can find me at Damnit Wooddy on all the social media sites. I was lucky enough to go and nail all those down all at once. The only one that I didn't get was Linktree. Somebody beat me to Linktree, and I typed, I was boop boop boop, Damnit Wooddy, and they were already taken. Bastard.
Of all things, Linktree.
yeah,
What
whoever
are they linking it to? Nothing.
Yeah.
Damn it, Woody.
Someone was like, "Oh, he's gonna want this one day. He'll give me money," and I was like, "Damn it, Woody," around it. Yeah. So Damn it, Woody. My shop is Underhand Tattoo out in on Palm and Shields out in wonderful Fresno, California. The ways to get a hold of me. I'm the worst. I open my books up once a year. I book the whole year, and I say tough luck.
Okay.
No, that's not true. I do book the
I was
whole.
hoping you meant it.
Yeah,
I was
well,
like, oh, good. I'm not such a dick.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I do book all year and then stop it. But I basically have a cancellation list. And when people are like, "Hey, I want to get in," I'm like, "This is the way. This is the one way."
Okay.
It
How,
works.
and how do they find that?
It's on my Instagram
Okay.
through my subscribers.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's $5 a month to be on that list, and people get in.
So Instagram can be the gateway to all the access.
Instagram is where I'm the most active. It's the app I have the most fun on. If you're only going to follow me on one thing, that would be the one that I'd recommend.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I'm really
And-
trying to promote one, follow me on YouTube.
And some of the other stuff that you do, like if people can see some of your content, it's mostly on Instagram, but what else, what other stuff are you making and where can people see some of that?
Yeah.
Like maybe there's stuff you've done in the past with people too, that maybe you can lead them to.
Oh, right. Yeah. So through my TikTok is really where you're going to find other interviews that I've done like this with other big creators on there. I've done a couple podcasts that you can find through Apple Podcasts. If you just look up Damn It Woody, they populate. Yeah, that's pretty much it. YouTube's going to be where I'm going to be dropping the biggest like content or the newest
biggest
stuff will
chunk
be.
of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Will be all through there.
Very cool.
Yeah, so those are
Awesome. So we will get to the rest of these questions. Are there anything coming in, Evan, through the comments that we should address specifically? Mikey asks a lot, and I appreciate you, or at least he comments a lot. All of you that comment and support this, I appreciate you. 45 thumbs up. I think that might be a record.
nice.
But if you guys are watching,
Yeah.
girls and guys, longtime listeners, no-time callers, if you're watching this, you got to give us a thumbs up. You got to send this, especially if you're watching it live right now. We're doing this for you tonight and for us too.
Yeah,
I'm
give
just
that
being
a
selfish.
thumbs up.
There we go. Do
It
the
mean
thumbs
the
up.
world to me.
See, you got it right there. So thumbs up, give us some hearts, send your comments. If you have questions, we will try to get to them. But we're gonna end this here pretty soon. So
Yep.
if you have the questions, get to it. There we go. We got a couple extra ones.
Thanks, guys.
We appreciate you guys tremendously, and don't bring your deceased and leave them behind. So I went for it. I was interested. Bracelet smells weird. Okay, he's getting weird. Mikey's awesome, and he does get a little weird. But let's
Yeah.
get to this next question, also coming from Instagram. This is an interesting one, even to me. So I'm excited to hear what you have to say about this. Does creating content take time away from business? Is it hard to juggle both?
It's very hard to juggle both. My one rule is that I wouldn't let it take away from tattooing, because I know the virality, the attention, all of it is limited. It's not forever. So I was never going to let that take away from my tattooing. That's the craft. That's the job. That's what I ultimately want to be the best at. It's what I want to dedicate the most time to. So when this all started happening, I told myself I'm still going to tattoo the same amount, and this will be my side hobby, my side hustle, if you will, whatever it is. Content creating will only ever be on the side. The times that it did affect business was all the traveling that I did, because it just, I know a lot of tattooers that go to expos and double their rates or triple their rates, and someone comes in and gets a small little palm-sized tattoo, and they're like, "Cool, $1,400, like get on out of here," and like that would just break my soul as a tattooer. So I was never able to do that. I made myself, gave myself a fair wage while I was out there. But yeah, the travel expenses with everything else just wasn't ultimately worth it financially.
Yeah.
So that was definitely the time. But I got to travel the country with my wife. I got to make friends all over the country. Now that I have a shop, we made a permanent guest booth. So people from all over will be traveling in all next year. I got people in Ireland and Spain and just all 50 states coming in. So
Super cool.
yeah, that was like, may not have worked out or been a good financial endeavor at the time, but hopefully will pay dividends in the coming years. So
And it's really cool too that you're inviting other people on, because I'm sure a lot of these guys, you can collaborate with, and a lot of times too also offer something to. And working with artists, there's always something to learn from somebody.
absolutely,
At really any level.
yeah,
Matter of fact, I say this all the time in my shop, that the person who's taught me the most, maybe one day this will change, so might have some big shoes to fill, Midna, but the artist who's taught me the most is actually started off as my apprentice. Her art, it just blew my mind, and because I'm into realism, she was already an oil painter and just so good at it. And then being in the shop, I just watched her, just because she just did it so much.
yeah,
And I just watched her take off, and you just learn so much in so many different ways, whether it's business related, content related. Doesn't really matter what it is you're making. Get around the kind of people who are into that, and you're going to learn something. And I wouldn't necessarily recommend going and sifting around the trash, so to
Right.
speak. But I mean that respectfully. But
yeah.
I would go to the people making the things in which you want to be part of, and it's such a cool way to experience whatever you're doing. It's the best way to learn. So it's
Yeah.
cool that you're offering that to people, and I'm sure it works both ways. So
Absolutely.
that's really cool.
Yeah, and also I like, having them in, putting them on. Even the people that have traveled in now, I'm like, hey, what can I do for you? You want to come hang out in the shop? Like, it's a big honor to me and everyone I work with. How do I make this a great time for you? You want me to shout you out? You want me to do whatever I can? You want to make a video with me? Great. Like, let's do it. I want to share this and share the wealth, if you will, as much as I can.
That's
I
really
get a
cool.
lot from that. So
That's really cool. I definitely got that vibe from you right away, even not knowing you, just the little interactions we had to get you in here.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that, and I can definitely vouch to say that that's very clear that you're that guy. I
appreciate it.
and I appreciate it. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
Good question, because things are changing, right? Eras always come back, and right now I think it's happening. I don't know how long it's going to last, and I don't know if it's a quick little blip. It seems like it will be, but tramp stamp. So she's asking, has anyone got a tramp stamp yet?
Yeah, I think she's specifically asking about my most recent video that was Lady and the Tramp on a
I
stamp.
saw that.
Yeah.
Dude, that got me.
Yeah.
I loved that one.
No one's gotten that yet. I've had a lot of people ask for it, but my book's closed like a week ago.
Yeah.
So everyone that's asked, I'm like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta find a different way in. But I just got my back started, my whole back, and the absolute worst on the back. Do you have your back done?
I have not very much of it now.
Okay. Did you have the
But I
tramp
will.
stamp?
No, I don't have the lower back. Terrible.
Terrible.
Yes.
Like, I have no idea how that was ever a popular spot to get tattooed. The back, what muscle is that? Hamstring?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hammies.
They like pulled, like he was doing a line and they like sucked in my butt. Like they went.
He
it
sucked in your butt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
This
right.
is-
Write that down.
Yes. There's
Yeah.
a good video idea. So get a tramp stamp because it'll suck in your butt.
He'll suck in your butt.
Yeah.
If that's what you're into.
Some people are. You're gonna get way
Yeah.
more requests now.
Hell yeah.
So here
Once
comes
again,
the troll.
that's Damnit Wooddy. If you can check that.
That's right. You can find them on Instagram.
Yeah.
The butt sucker.
Damnit
So
Wooddy right now.
it does. You know, it's funny you say that, because the only thing that this is so gross, and everybody's about to hear it now. You heard it her first. Heard it her first.
Heard her first.
So my when I get tattooed, my butt crack sweats.
Yeah.
And
for
it's
sure.
the only thing. And nothing else in this world does this to me.
Oh.
But when I get tattooed, I'm like, oh yeah,
That's right.
I forgot about that. And I don't know if it's
Yeah.
the chairs or I don't know what it is. And I like getting tattooed. I know
Yeah.
people always say, no, you don't. I
Yeah.
do. Like
Okay.
I've enjoyed getting tattooed. I think Lele's watched me get tattooed. She could say like I don't not
I've
like
tattooed you.
You have. And
Yeah.
I like it. I like the feeling in some spots, like chest
Gross.
was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, super weird.
Mm.
And the butt just yep.
Yeah.
So anyway, just so you guys know.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, there we go.
I'm gonna start asking my clients like
Is your butt-
halfway through. I'm like, how's your butt doing?
Yeah. Just give them a
Sweating?
piece of tissue,
Cool.
and they're like, "What's this for?" And I'm
Yeah.
like,
You know.
credit check.
Yeah. Gross. Yeah.
Okay. So I do have a couple questions. There's anything else coming in, Evan, that we don't want to miss?
Not really.
Nothing about sucking butts yet. All right.
Yes. Okay. So nobody's
fine.
like, so where do I sign? We're getting.
Yeah.
Oh, my phone's ringing. Okay. So I'm going to ask a couple questions, and I don't want to make this too much longer because I respect your time, and everybody else on here. I appreciate you. So we're getting to the end of it, but.
Okay.
I want to go down the sort of rabbit hole of your content, because we live in the world now where that's the thing.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean this even from a personal standpoint. Like I'm always trying to make videos, and I found myself saying, how do I get likes? How do I get views to myself? And then I realized, no, dude, just make something you want to make. Forget about that part. And I've even had this conversation with Dalen recently where I struggle with seeing what other people are able to achieve. So basically what I'm going to get to here and explain this is, what do you think about this? Somebody who is very successful at making content and doing what he does. When I think about making content, I have to remind myself, actually lately, the thing that I've been doing is imagining I put like a name tag on, and on it, I have to write my intention.
Okay.
What is my intention here?
Yeah.
Am I just trying to make people laugh? Am I trying to get likes? Am I trying to, what I find is if I'm not intentional about my outcome, if I were to write down on my chest what my intention is, it's to get views, it's to get likes, it's to get attention, it's to get popular, to be cool.
Right.
And I'm like, whoa, that's not what so I have to check myself and kind of rearrange my focus and go, okay, what are my intentions here? Like I do this class on occasion throughout typically these months, the winter months, and it's completely free. People come to it, anywhere from 2 to 3 people, sometimes 5 people show up at a time. A lot of times it's with a parent and a kid who doesn't know if they want to go down the route of learning to tattoo, but it's completely free class. I go over way too much shit you could ever remember, and I just try to give you everything I wish I had when I was first starting and asking
That's
these
so
questions.
cool. Yeah.
And I always want it to be free, and I really get a lot out of doing it. Plus, I'm learning how to publicly speak and communicate, and it's great. But I have to ask myself, what are my intentions here? My intentions are in the class very clear, and I feel like they're very pure. Whereas when I'm making content, because I see a camera, I see a phone, I don't see you, I don't see a person, I don't see humans, and I struggle with that.
Right.
So for people out there and myself, what kind of thoughts do you have in regards to that situation?
It very much, don't worry about the views, the likes, any of that, because they won't be fulfilling for long. I think it's like the most modern drug in the sense of like that first hit is sick and it's super cool and nothing ever feels like that again. Even if that first video gets 500,000 views, it's the coolest thing. You can have a video get 5 million views, and this isn't just my perspective. This is talking to so many people that have done it. You'll get 5 million views, and it'll never feel like that first 500,000. The intention, if you're focusing on anything, it's growing your online community. It's growing the people that are going to be around to watch your videos, like appreciating them, like you were saying earlier, knowing someone's on the other side of that on the other side of that follow, that message that comes through. Growing that community should always be the most important thing because you're at the mercy of an algorithm that doesn't like you. Right. So if you're focusing on views or any of that, you'll always be let down. But when you get those messages like we got earlier of someone saying, I love watching what you're doing, I love doing that. If that's what you're doing it for, you'll be so much more fulfilled. It'll all be worth it. That's the best advice from collecting advice from hundreds of other creators.
Right. And someone like you is very successful. I don't take that with a grain of salt. I think of that as like damn near gospel because, you know, I take that approach in my art.
Right.
But at the same time, when it comes to content, like I do get that barrier and I experience that, like I'm talking to a camera that to remind myself who's listening to this. Right. And I like business a lot and I love making money. And I have to take that hat off when I make something and ask like, that does get difficult. Even I struggle with, I'll probably always have some level of struggle with that to some degree and trying to sort of weed out those, I guess, bad intentions, even though it sounds aggressive. I struggle with that and I know other people have to as well. So let me take it to an extreme end.
Okay.
Someone who doesn't make content, doesn't want to be seen. I don't want the pictures and the photos and the video out. I desire to do it, but I just can't. Like you've heard this before. People say like, I've always wanted to do that, but I can't do that.
Yeah.
You know, like Dalen always tries to get me to do funny TikTok dances, which I guess is a specific thing.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. That's just
neither
not me.
am I.
Yeah, I'm not doing
Sorry,
it.
bud.
Yeah. So Dalen, just stay in your corner. Okay.
Your lane, man. Own it.
Yep. Wait. There we go. Let's give him some of his own medicine.
Yeah.
I haven't even reflected that back on him yet. But what do you say to that to somebody who's like, man, that's so cool, but I can't. No way.
Yeah, it's a muscle like everything else, right? I want to be big and buff, right? Like, but I don't want to go to the gym, you know? It's the same thing. I'm sure people are born more charismatic or born to, you know, deliver themselves better in front of a camera. But anyone can get there by just doing. My biggest advice, I say this anytime it's asked, is just make the thing. Just go and make it. If it sucks, oh well, you made it, and you can make a second one. Just make the thing. I even find myself sometimes because there's a much more like vloggy trend right now where people are just like, "Hey, watch me in a day at work," and I'm really bad at that because like me talking to a camera while like filling orders, I can't do two things at once, and it just ends up being me talking to a camera. But you got to do it. You got to sit down. You got to make the thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely it. Can I actually touch on the money thing that you were talking about?
Totally.
So I love business. I love that like you can make really good money as a tattooer. I love that you can make really good money as a content creator. But that also can't be the thing that you focus the intention of. And here's the biggest reason why. Imagine you're a tattooer, right? But you don't get paid by your client. You get paid at the end of the month by everyone's reception of the tattoo that you just did. So you hammer out 26 tattoos this month and you showed up to everyone and they're like, great, good job. Here's 10 grand, right? And you're like, oh man, that's awesome. I enjoyed making it. Enjoy the money. Great. The next month you're like, let's do 25 tattoos and they're going to be even better. And you make them, they're like, oh shit, that's so cool. Here's 20 grand, right? And like, awesome. The next month you pop out 30. You love these tattoos. They're great. And they're like, we're not going to pay you this month. Like, and you're like, why not? And they're like, oh, sorry, our customer service, they're not answering calls right now. So good luck next month.
Wow.
That's what it's like in social media. And you'll have a video blow up, and it can blow up when they're paying. And Facebook was really good for a while about paying their creators. And then out of nowhere, it just silently went away overnight.
Yeah.
So, you're still making these videos and you're posting them up and you're like, wait, I made good money last month and I'm making better content this month, but now I don't make anything off this. Why don't I make anything off this? And they're like, oh, sorry, we don't have answers right now as to why not. Like,
Yeah.
that system is so insane and hard to follow. YouTube does it pretty well, pretty consistent. Facebook, Instagram, the metas, and TikTok, it's damn near criminal.
Right.
Or you'll have a video. One of my recent videos blew up so hard, and I was sitting there going, "Oh yeah, we're gonna make some money." Policy violation.
Wow.
And I'd click. It'd be like, check to see what your policy violation. Click error.
Right. Just
Click
nothing.
error. Nothing ever.
Yeah.
Nothing ever came up because
So-
they can.
So you really, I mean, not doing it for the money, like tattooing is a good example for me, or even music again. I've never thought, oh, I'm going to do this because I'm going to make money. I think if I was setting out to make money, I would have absolutely picked a totally different profession. It was a little easier to scale with less moving parts and less demand of individual talent, which is really hard. Like, how do you, I don't know how to
Yeah.
put money on that.
Yeah.
But it is obviously really cool that I can teach a skill to people and watch them support their family,
Right.
watch them feed their kids, watch them either be able to afford a new car and me knowing that I got to be part of that.
Totally.
Super rad.
Yeah.
So I always use money as like, it's a good metric because you can measure against it and use it. It's very clear. It's one of the clearest metrics besides your physical weight and your physical bank account. It's one of the only few metrics you can actually look at right now and just
Right.
click on an app and see it or stand on a scale. So I like those, but I also understand they're the end result of something way better. So thinking about the money part's fascinating. Money's always been fascinating to me
Yeah.
because on the other side of a dollar is a human being who had to do something typically in value of that dollar so that you can make this transaction. And it's so cool that we even get paid to do.
Yeah.
Like, spoil alert, like I did this for free. Like,
Yeah.
before you guys even started paying me. Now I wasn't that good and I've gotten better.
Right.
And I love it, but it's interesting that you can get paid to do what you love. And then in turn, you get so much better at it. And content, I don't know if I've never gotten paid to make content. I've never made money necessarily off making content. But what you said to the community thing, kind of segueing into that, that's been the most special part of this.
Yeah, you
is
do that
just
really
community.
well. Yeah,
love that.
in seeing people before it even starts up coming in and already commenting and already wanting to support it, and people just being stoked on it. That really speaks volumes to like you are growing your community, you're doing it well, and to be completely honest, I don't know how many people are regularly active on this thing, but it's probably a lot more than some creators that you see out there that have 1 million plus followers on whatever app, and they'll post up a piece of merch and sell 3. Like,
Yeah. Really hard to convert
yeah,
an audience because I'm way more interested in a deep, narrow community than I am wide and shallow. It can just disappear in a second. It can evaporate in a second. Something so deep that that is really important to me.
Yeah.
I always think of that. It's community,
right,
right? And I think that's not only better for us, but it's better for everybody in the end.
yeah,
I think I'm way more interested in doing that. Having 20 solid people or one solid person on your side, like you were talking about family and what supports you and all your
Right.
endeavors, and the thing that's kind of I guess you could say your cornerstone or your foundation is. I couldn't imagine doing any of these things without the people. The shop wouldn't even exist without Sheldon.
right.
The holes in the walls wouldn't exist. The broken stuff wouldn't exist without Sheldon.
They're all important, is what he's saying.
But he fixes more than he breaks.
Yeah,
But he'll break something along the way. But all the people that help me, all the people that support me, and all the people that want to learn by me and in turn trade for their time and their efforts and put in that hard work. I've seen so much physical labor put into my shop because people want something, or shouldn't say that. They want to achieve something. They want to walk down a path that's calling them, and it's so cool to see that. It's really cool to see it from this end, like to see it as because I remember being on that side.
yeah,
And then anyway, it's just really cool. So I like sharing those stories. I think a lot of people need to hear that richness of, like, even if you didn't get paid. For example, I've never gotten paid for making music. Doesn't matter to me. I don't
Right.
care. I never expect and probably never will make a single dollar off it. It's not at all my intention. It's kind of my therapy. It's my escape.
yeah.
But when it comes to like content, I am thinking about how to build a business, how to build a community. I'm thinking about money in the end. That's how we feed ourselves. That's how my people, get fed. But at the same time, it's definitely not why I do it. I would do it anyway. I'm technically doing all this. I'm not getting paid to do any of this, but there's something really deep about it. So if I were to say what little we know about each other, and technically, if people don't know, this is the first time we've met is today.
Right.
And I already feel like I've known you for quite a while. So this is really cool. But what would you say is very clear, if I described it? And I think this will help people to maybe analyze some of the things they want to do or are doing or have done and gave up on, or try to get going. And, I got this small business thing. It's kind of just me in my room selling some stuff, or, that sounds super crooked, but me, like I got some jewelry thing. I got it on Instagram or whatever, got makeup going on. I got this little hustle thing, something that lights my soul on fire is what I like to think of it.
Yeah.
I don't make any money off this room, and it often causes me probably more gray hairs than necessary. But also there's this level of satisfaction to it that like, I don't need to make money, and maybe it never does. And it's not at all my intention with this. Yes, when I tattoo, I need to monetize it, and that's great. But what, from your perspective and something like what I'm doing here, what would you say that's all about? Like, why would somebody even, what's the purpose of it? Like, what's the point of it other than community?
Yeah.
Like what, for an individual, like why would they do something like this?
Oh, I think it's just like feeding your soul and how important that is. I have the same like passion projects. My garage at home is kind of my little version of this. Like I've decked all the walls. I have my own little stage in the corner. And yeah, I think for people like us, it's half of what keeps us sane, having something to do. But yeah, I think it's that thing that's like more important than money, and it's just the part of your soul that gets fed from it. And yeah, I get a lot of that. I find a lot of value in it. I have the same problem where I'll be like, man, how do I monetize this? Or what's the best way to monetize this? And it's like, dude, you're just painting. Like you're painting to paint. Like, yeah, do that for a bit.
Yeah, forget about that part.
Yeah.
Especially if you're creating something from the heart, if you will.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And it seems like obviously you do that a lot, and it shows through. It really does. On our end, watching, I'm sure you get this, but I'll say it right now that not only are you a positive person, like you're putting out, I want to say you're sending a message of positivity, but who you are is a very enlightening, positive person. It's really wonderful.
Thank you.
And in person, it translates just as powerful, if not way more.
Appreciate it.
That's something that I enjoy seeing from a tattoo artist, from who's successful, from somebody who's not just in business but also in content creation. And I mean, you've got sitting here talking with you is just like talking to a friend, talking to another guy in the industry, or talking to a compadre, if you will.
Right.
And I think that it's really cool to see that you have this platform where we have tens, if not hundreds of millions of views, and all these people that have heard of you and seen you and watch you. A lot of the people that haven't heard of you that are on my show have now watched you and affected them in a positive way. Even if it's just entertainment, right? You can reduce it down to, I just make silly videos. Either way, we're touching people in a positive way and reaching out and building that community. And I really think that's one of the most magical. Like this room to me is an extension of my inner creative side, but in the end, its function and form is really to be able to do this and to be able to connect with you guys watching and listening. And I'll continue to do that just because it's fucking awesome.
Yeah. This really is. This is awesome. I'm stoked you're doing it. I'm grateful I even got to come be a part of it. I wasn't expecting this. I got to say, super cool.
Good.
So,
well, I'm glad I had you on. I think this is perfect. Is there anything I should be asking or that you wanted to say tonight or you thought of that we didn't cover?
No, I don't think so. I think we covered way more than I expected.
We did it.
Yeah.
We really
we
went there.
did the thing.
Yeah. All the way. We did the intro, which was my first shot at acting.
You did great.
Yep,
10 out of 10.
We got Sheldon's help with the dressing room. What do you call that? The hair and makeup or whatever you call that in the background. And I'm asking you, like you got a hair and makeup guy.
We call that hair and makeup in the industry.
Right. We got the name on the door.
Yeah.
So everybody's help. Dalen, Evan behind the camera. Evan, did you say hi to everybody already?
Hello.
Yep. So what's up? There he is. There's Evan doing his thing. Appreciate you. Sheldon, of course, is in the house, and a few other friends stopped by to check it out. So everybody on the live stream, if we didn't get to you, we apologize, but we will be back. You know what we do. Tomorrow is Wednesday, which means I'm going to stick to my regular scheduled program. That's usually when I do this episode. So technically tomorrow will be episode 77.
Yep.
I got it wrong earlier.
Or 57 or whatever.
56.
Yeah.
We'll go the other way.
Yeah.
We'll start
That'll work.
rotating back around. But Woody, thank you so very much for being with me.
Yeah.
And, having this audience and answering questions and letting us get to know you.
Yeah.
Who is the man
Thank
behind the
you.
blonde wig?
Happy to answer. And thank you for everyone that tuned in and, has watched my stuff and asked questions. This was a lot of fun. I had a great time.
Brody says, when we need to see the outfit again. You know what? One day it would be really cool to have you back, and we'll have some more fun.
Yeah,
This would be
absolutely.
cool. So thank you guys
I'd
for
love that.
watching. Thank you, everybody, for helping out. You guys in the comments, longtime listeners, no-time callers. You thought that I forgot about Linda, but I didn't. Linda, if you're out there, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, Linda, no matter what you're doing, just know that I'm thinking. She's my favorite client of all time. I tell her this, she doesn't believe me. So every episode, I will absolutely shout out to Linda.
I love that.
Because Linda needs to know she's amazing, and I appreciate you, Linda. Thinking about you. So thank you guys for being on here, and we are out. Peace out. See ya. Fade to black. Later.